What's my opinion on Donald Trump becoming the new president of the USA? Shit, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm more informed than most of the people that voted for him, and I have no idea what's gonna happen. That's my real take right there. I genuinely don't know. Here's what I hope for America. The people who have entered into those positions of power, my only hope is that they also love America. Trump wasn't a very good president. When you grade him on his merits, okay? You grade him on his merits, he wasn't a very good president. He's not even a very good person. I'm gonna be real with you there. That's my opinion. Look, that's my opinion of him. I think he's a bad dude. The vibes are off. But the problem is he's kind of funny. He's kind of funny and he hates the right people. And that's apparently all you need. And also he's a man. Do we have any pro-Trumpers in here? Is anyone here pro-Trump? I want to hear your opinions. Jiraxu, you're a pro-Trumper. You want to tell me your thoughts there, bud? I just want to hear it out. I want to, you know what? Let me do this. New note. This will be Jiraxu's opinion on Trump. I'm in the process of joining the Royal Navy. Biggest concern was about foreign wars. Under Trump, there was no new wars, which in like the last 35 presidents hadn't happened. He has good relations with world leaders. They respect him. And he says he is for world peace and stability. As a young man in his early 20s going into the military, nothing is more important. Secondly, I like his policies, and the main one being to utilize tariffs to lower taxes for your citizens. Also, I think a country should put its people before immigrants.
A few moments later.
So first things first, I want to explain how tariffs work. So I'm gonna paint you a picture. So the way that I understand a tariff, let's say you have two countries, okay? You've got the USA, okay? And you've got China. Let's say there's a 0% tariff, okay? This is the 0% tariff situation, okay? And let's say you've got a manufacturer in China, and then you've got the consumer. If China makes a thing that costs $100. They sell it to USA for $100. Then this company, they say, well, we need to make $100 for every one of these we sell for us to also make money on this. So when we sell it to the consumer, it's got to be $200. And then that gets sold to the consumer for $200. This is no tariff, okay? Now let's also imagine that in order to make this good, they bought like $50 worth of American goods to make this. And then they added an extra 50 of their own. Now let's just do a scenario where the government puts a 10% tariff. Let's map it out. This is like how I'm imagining it goes. USA says, you got to do a 20% tariff to China. And then China says, well, now you got to do a 20% tariff as well. So they're like, if you tariff us, we tariff you, okay? China hits us back, hits the US back. So that 50 to China becomes 60. And the Chinese manufacturer is still like, well, we still got to add $50 worth of money in here, okay, to make this thing worth 100. But we did just pay an extra $10 for this. Well, then we got to make it 110 minimum. But the US is charging us a 20% tariff. So when we sell this to a US company, the US company pays like $32? And then they're still like, well, we still need to make $100 on this. And so when it's sold to the consumer, eventually they pay $232. Now, this is how I understand tariffs work, okay? So in my mind, a 20% tariff has made this good like 15% more expensive. Like that's 15% inflation immediately. If we put a 20% tariff, China hits them back with a 20% tariff, immediately this costs more for the people. Because the people who buy it, they pay this much. They pay this, right? So is there anybody who disagrees with this analysis? I want you to raise your hand in chat. It's not inflation. Oh my God, it is. Inflation is just the increase in price. If you put a tariff on things, the end price here has increased? No. Therefore, this is inflation on this good. Tariffs already worked in his first presidency. Fact check. We're fact checking live. Trump said he would tax Chinese imports into the United States by 45%. This was reported in the New York Times. A May 2019 analysis conducted by CNBC found that Trump's tariffs are equivalent to one of the largest tax increases in the US in decades. Studies have found that the US tariff reduced real income in the United States as well as adversely affecting the United States. Wait, what? He enacted tariffs on solar panels? Holy. Guys, no insulting the Trump people. We're here to understand them. Here's the thing. Everyone who likes Trump has a vote. It's our job to try to understand them, empathize with them, be reasonable, hear their opinions. A survey of leading economists by the Initiative on Global Markets at the University of Chicago of Booth School of Business. Tariffs only encourage domestic production when the home nation can afford to profitably produce a product at scale within their own cost of manufacturing, usually wages being the thing stopping it. Project 2025 has been announced by Trump and he has nothing to do with it. Let's focus on tariffs because I really want to understand these tariffs. Jiraxu, do you not feel like this is a huge tax increase on Americans? I know you're from the UK. Wait, why don't you? But like, this is like a 15% tax increase for imported goods. Well, I'm a farmer and I know tariffs aren't going to be fun for me. Hell yeah. Tariffs already worked. No. But we showed that they didn't. Didn't we? Didn't we show that they increased the cost of living? Wouldn't it be better to invest in American companies to make these goods and then do some tariffs? No? A company growing, that's the message I sent. A company growing what we can hire. I don't see the message you're pointing to. A company growing will make it to hire new employees, though. That's the idea of the same trickle-down economics we've seen recently. Is companies chasing infinite growth will actually just cause more layoffs since they can make more money while paying less people. Isn't the UK a perfect example of how cheaper imports and exports are good for the economy? Wait, we didn't undo the tariffs because it's much easier to place a tariff than to remove one. The reason we didn't get rid of it is because the country's Trump tariff counter-tariffed us, so we have no choice to stick to the tariff. That's the really big danger, is if you say to someone, hey, I'm going to tax you 10% on imported goods. If they just go to you, well, I'm going to tax you 10% on goods, and then you go, okay, I'm going to remove the tariff, and they're just like, well, I'm not going to. Now you can't do it. You're fucked, right? I think people hear tariff, and it's like the Mexico's going to build a wall type thing. It's like tariff means someone else is going to pay it. But unless you actually break it down like this, I don't think tariffs are a good policy. There's a reason tariffs died out as economic policy. Because this gets even more complicated when you consider that there might be 5 or 6 different like trades going on simultaneously between America and China, for example. I don't love China. But I don't know if it's the right move. That's just fake news. Countries make bilateral trade deals for tariff removal all the time. That is true, but usually that is a process that takes a very, very long time. Putting a tariff in place is easy, getting rid of one isn't. That was the point that they were making. And here's the thing. Maybe you're okay with taxing the American consumer on imports. Maybe that's something you're okay with. Fine. What is the point of the tariff? Tariffs are a way to boost the profitability of domestic manufacturing. Okay, I can kind of see it. Like, let's say China makes product A, okay, and they make it for 60 buckaroos, okay? And America makes product A for 100 buckaroos. And you're like, well, shit, we want to make these in America. This is like a strategic industry. Let's say it's microchips. And you're like, China, you know what? You have to sell them for 100. I can kind of understand that. It's like, we want to protect this American business that exists, okay? But if it's like China makes this thing that we don't make, so we're just going to make them pay 15% import fees, which means the product now just cost more for people. Like, okay, Jiraxu, here's a question for you. What if making things in America made Americans poorer? Do you still think that would be good? Let's say America starts making all of its own goods, okay? You get full autarky, but it means that Americans on average are poorer. Do you think that is a better world than a one where you import stuff and America's wealthier and happier? Like, I'm wondering, like, do you care more about the autarky and independence than the quality of the life of people? Let's say we go to your world, right, where America makes all of the goods. American quality of life goes down. Like, people have less money, they work more. America makes all of its own goods, but Americans now, for every $10 Americans have now, they only have 8. Would you be cool with that world? What if Americans were half as rich, but they made all their own stuff? Honestly, that's difficult, but you think yes. So holy shit, so like, you would prefer America to make all of its own goods, even if it meant that the average American had half as much money. Do not let bro cook. He burnt the kitchen. I'm just trying to understand. Hi, I'm a current legal immigrant to the USA. The more time passed, the more I realized I might get deported by this shit mass deportation shit. Give me hope, potato milk whiskey. I'm so sad now. You're illegal. As in, you are legally there. You're going to be fine, bro. Also, here's what you got to do, dude. It sucks that I have to say this to you. You got to live your life to the fullest. Live a happy time. Enjoy your life. You know, hug a cat, pet a dog, and as soon as you can legally vote, as soon as you can legally become a citizen, I want you to go to that polling station every day until the day you die, and I want you to vote for the people that you think will make America a better place for everyone. But I think you will get through this fine. From my perspective, a country that can maintain itself entirely independently without the need of foreign aid is much, much stronger independently. Okay, but what if a country is like, oh, fuck, we can like support ourselves. Now, here's the next question, Jiraxu. What if America is like, yeah, we don't need any more other countries. Like, we do our own shit. We're all on our own. And that develops into like super isolation. It's a really isolationist way. Wouldn't it be better if all countries are like trading with each other and they're relying each other and there's political things and they're way more chill? Wouldn't it be less likely to get a war if people are trading with each other and chill? We used to work in industry heavily impacted by the first wave of tariffs. Parts manufacturers pushed the price increase to the company making the end product, who pushed the price to increase to the distributor, who pushed the price to increase to the end user, who pushed the price to the and everyone added a percentage of profit. Tariffs are exponentially bad. Yeah, I think I actually undersold how bad tariffs are in this example that I wrote, because in reality, okay, they make a product, it's raw materials, that costs $25, okay? And they send it to China, and because the US has a 20% tariff on China, when this gets sent to China, who hits back with a 20% tariff, this ends up actually costing $30. Because they also have a 20% tariff because they hit them back, okay? China is then like, well, we want to make a 100% markup on the products that we make, because if we buy something for 30, we want to sell it for 60. So they create a product for $60, and then they send it back to the US, okay? And another 20% is added. So like, I don't know, 60 times 1.2, it should be like, this now becomes $72, okay? This American manufacturer is like, we put a little bit more work into this, so we want to add another 100%. We want to make some money on top of this too. So then it becomes $144, okay? That's this company. And then it goes to distributors in America, and they want to make money on this thing too. And they're like, oh man, we bought this for 144, we need to sell it for at least double that to make any money on this, to make this worth even selling. So now they're selling it for $288, right? However, if we lived in the world without tariffs, we're talking, this thing goes from being 25, okay, we send it over to China, it costs them 25 because there's no tariff. They add 100% markup when they sell it back to a different US company, so that's 100%. So another American company buys it for $50. They're like, shit, we need to sell this for at least twice as much as it cost us. So we'll sell that for $100. And then they sell it on to an American company who's going to sell it to the American consumer. And they're like, well, we need to make money off this too. So they add an extra plus 100% because they did the transportation, the shipping, all that stuff. And by the end, you've got a product that was $200. So depending on how many times a product gets tariffed and what the percentage of manufacturer markup is, you're looking at a product that this is like a 20% tariff led to a 44% price increase or whatever, something like that. Like, that's crazy. With Labour government fucking over farmers recently and the lack of used farmland in the UK, we could not sustain our own population. But wait, hold on. How did they fuck over the farmers? Didn't they literally, tell me if I'm wrong here. I thought the Labour government closed a loophole that allowed rich people to use farmland that they weren't farming as a way to pass on their wealth through inheritance without getting inheritance taxed. I thought they just closed like a tax evasion loophole, and like 87% of farmers are not affected. This affects only like the 13% richest farmers. And a lot of those guys, they're not even farming. They just bought that land so they can give it to their kids without paying inheritance tax, I thought. So the inheritance tax now means that you can't pass it on to your kids. So farmland that is valued over 1 million will have a huge tax. I think it's, at this point, he said it's okay if people lose quality of life. It's clear he doesn't care about the well-being of people. Yeah, I think that's the bit, Jiraxu, that I'm really struggling with. A lot of family farms don't make much money. This is hard over text. Jiraxu, do you want to call in to this is the post-election Trump show. We'll do a viewer call in. Jump into my Discord, okay? You on the Potato McWhiskey Discord? Jump in here. We're gonna have a chat. All right, Jiraxu.
Hello.
What were you joining to talk to me about? Wait, first of all, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jack, long-time watcher. I think I won a Humankind giveaway with you actually once by telling a really awful joke that had something to do with politics.
That sounds familiar. Well done.
So yeah, I got a bit lost in all of the chat, responding to people, and then obviously yourself. I want to go on to the point that you were talking about with the quality of life thing, because I feel like I didn't really express myself very well.
Okay. Go for it.
So for me, when it comes to priority, yep.
Are you old enough to vote?
Yes, I'm 22.
Who did you vote for the last election?
I voted for Lib Dem because the people I wanted to vote for weren't on the ballot.
Okay. I was just curious. Not a Tory.
No, dear God, no.
You sound like a Tory, but go on.
I think that's because I lived in Cambridge for a couple of years.
Oh, he's a Lib Dem voter who lives in Cambridge. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we get a vibe. Okay, go on.
But yeah, so for me, when it comes to the list of priorities, if like I like to think, what would I do if I was in charge of things, right? My main priority would always be national sovereignty, the defense of my citizens, and the progress we're making internally to make our lives better.
Okay, wait.
So when the
Sorry,
question,
question then. What if doing tariffs makes your country less sovereign and less secure? Let's say hypothetically, okay,
okay,
Americans need an item called the Giga Widget, or the UK needs a Giga Widget, okay? And in order to
Okay.
produce a Giga Widget, you need to have 1 billion people in your country, okay?
Right.
Countries that don't have 1 billion people can't produce this. This is just a crazy hypothetical. If you write a law that says, like, we're going to make Giga Widgets 100% more expensive to import, and your country cannot make them, you've just made people poorer for no reason.
Right, yeah. So there's absolutely no way we can make it, and the only way is importing it, and we've put a tariff on it.
Yeah. I'm establishing the strong case, and then I'll establish the weak case.
In that scenario, yeah, you'd be making people poorer. But the way I'd go about
No, you'd
making
literally
tariffs...
be denied. Like you just couldn't have this thing. It would just be way more expensive for no reason. Like there's no benefit here.
Wait, so who am I putting the tariffs on, or are they putting the tariffs
You're
on?
putting the tariff on it because you're like, America should produce its own Giga Widgets, right? But America doesn't have 1 billion
Right.
people, and you can only produce a Giga Widget if you have 1 billion people.
Okay, that would, in that sense, yeah, that would just make it much harder to, it'd make your people poorer. But I think the way...
Would you still put that tariff on?
No, not at that point, no.
Okay, so you're
Because
not insane.
if you... No, not completely. You'd have to make some kind of deal with your country and the country that can make Giga Widgets. Let's say you both have tariffs on each other. You can be like, how about I don't tariff this and we won't tariff it? Or, you make...
Oh my God, you're
you make
pro
it-
free
make
trade.
it-
That's what we do when we sign free trade agreements that
Well, yeah, of
prevent
course,
tariffs
yeah.
from happening. That's literally what we
Yeah,
do.
I don't think all tariffs are like... I don't think tariffs are like perfectly and like, all benevolent.
Okay.
But I think they are quite important. And I think, yeah, there are definitely times for certain items that you shouldn't tariff. But there's the big ones that obviously Trump talks about himself the most is steel. And being someone who had a granddad who was a miner and a Labour MP actually.
Wait, how much do you
and
hate Margaret Thatcher?
Oh, I dislike her. But the Falklands arc, that goes hard.
Okay. Wait, do you care about the Penguin Island?
I do care about the Penguin Island.
Got
yeah.
it. Okay.
But yeah, so I grew up just below Sheffield, so steel is something that was something that we lost that was quite important to the identity of that city.
Okay, wait.
And I think to see...
And what if Sheffield was now producing like Intel supercomputers? Would that not be an upgrade? Why would
It
you want
would be, but
Why would you want to go back to
unfortunately...
steel?
So here's the thing with Sheffield, right, is they're not really producing much anymore. The factories aren't being used. They've been turned into museums. And something that made Sheffield and the north of England very dominant was its steel industry. And we
Okay.
lost that because of Margaret Thatcher wanting to import cheaper coal and cheaper steel from countries like Romania. So when I see a funny orange-haired man say, guys, let's not give up on our steel, it's really important to not only the thousands of jobs that were lost, but also as an identity as some part of these states. Each state will have each identity on kind of what it produces. Some will be agricultural, some will be media, and New York with its Broadways and everything like that. So I think for you to have a national sense
Wait, you
of...
think New York only does Broadways?
Well,
Is that
no,
the
no,
entire
of course
GDP
not.
of New York is Broadways? What the fuck?
Yes, all of it.
Oh
And
my-
all
no, I'm
Spider-Man
just-
photos, but-
Here's the thing: cities are really diverse economies. Not only do they provide
Yes.
a variety of services, they produce a variety of goods, and they're also massive consumers of goods. Right? The cities are the people using the steel.
Yeah. Oh,
Who joined?
hello?
Hello, I'm just some random person I saw. Oh, general and voice chat. The potatoes there. I'm like,
We're having a
This is a
very intense political discussion, and
I mean, I'm living through it right now, and it's fucking terrible.
it's horrific.
But if it was a private conversation, then like I can see myself out.
It was a private conversation, and now you're.
Ah.
No, I'm just kidding. You're good.
I mean,
So, this is just like economic identity politics, then, right? Like, hey, we're steel workers, and we lost our steel jobs, so we want the steel
So-
jobs back.
So I think identity is an integral part of it, but I don't think it's the sole purpose of it, right? I was just saying that that's part of the reason why I like it so much is because something I saw is like as a kid growing up is people, oh well, not so much saw it because it pretty much happened by then, but a lot of people in the north of England now don't have that kind of sense of purpose, and a lot of the north of England has kind of suffered economically since all of our trades were kind of exported to different countries, because now we get our steel elsewhere, we get our coal elsewhere, and obviously coal mining isn't
But
great. It's
what
very
if?
morally wrong,
But
but
this is like a trade-off. Let's say okay,
yeah.
10,000 north of England steel traders, um, or steel makers, right? They all lose their jobs, and they were making
Mm,
steel for £10 a kilo or whatever, right? But now we're able to
yeah.
import Romanian steel for like £5 a kilo. That steel's half as good. So everyone else is better off. But like, we should tariff steel for the 10,000 steel workers. Why don't we just like make them make? Why don't we just invest in other industries for those people?
Because here's the thing: is the quality assurance. Obviously, I'm not saying I don't know much about Romanian steel, so I can't speak on that too much. But I think the
Are
the
you being
important things is
racist to steel right now,
no,
bro?
yes, the impurities.
Okay, Jesus Christ. Romania aren't sending their best steel, apparently. Jesus.
But
Well,
I think having an industry in a country is part of national identity, right? I think when you sacrifice things that are core industries, that I mean, the steel industry in Sheffield and like the steel industry was instrumental in making our ships in the Second World War, and I think our country has lost a lot of pride for itself. And I think this is part of the reason is that we've had these industries that were around for hundreds of years ripped out from us by people like Margaret Thatcher that thought, I can get it cheaper elsewhere. And I don't think this is a good thing. And then that creates more and more problems, which is like, if you ask anyone in the UK right now, are you proud to be British? I can guarantee you most of the answer is going to be no. Whereas
Well,
you asked
listen,
that
you're
question
talking to an Irishman.
80 years ago.
Well, like 80 years
Well, yeah,
ago,
of
you
course.
guys were fucking, sitting in a collapsing empire.
True.
So I don't know. I think maybe I don't think British people should be allowed to be proud of being British. I think there should be like at least 40% shame in there. That should be like a mix. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
Question though, like let's say hypothetically, right? That okay,
Yeah,
Margaret Thatcher got rid of the steel, and then instead she like we're gonna create fucking Sheffield, the Intel chip manufacturing hub. Are those
that
people
would have
cool
been
with it?
fantastic.
Okay, so the
I
fuck
don't
up.
know if they would have been cool with it because here's the difference: producing steel and making microchips is a very different skill set. But
But
I'm,
they're
I'm
just
sure they could learn. Right?
But like in theory, right? Insert any applicable industry,
Yeah,
right? Like if they had invested in or retrofitting those factories to produce some other good, I don't know. There's like maybe they could have put like, okay, we're gonna put like a 5% tariff on imported steel, and this will go towards investing in the areas where steel used to be produced, right? So like, yes, we're
yeah.
paying half price for steel. There's a very small tax on it, but overall, steel is cheaper in the country, and we're putting money back into the economy where the steel is no longer being produced. Like,
except that doesn't ever happen because you raise the price with a tariff on one end, and that money doesn't go to where it needs to go.
yeah, that's
It
true.
just goes into corporate pockets.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
Bro answered it for me. Perfect.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
um,
even here in the U.S., we have like West
Self
Virginia, where there's all these big coal mining industries. Like West Virginia is very poor, but very resource rich.
self-biased. Are you? Would you? What would be your political affiliation? And what's your like rough age?
I'm 44. I identify as leftist, so I am generally
He's a goddamn liberal,
anti-capitalist.
stinking up my
no,
discard.
However, I tend to view things a lot through the lens of harm reduction because there's really no way to get to the Star Trek future without, like, we're just not ready to scrap our entire economic system. Like, there's just too much bullshit entrenched.
Wait, what do you think is
And
wrong with
then,
the economic system? This is meant to be about tariffs. What's wrong with the economic
oh,
system? Let's talk.
well, and you just like capitalism rewards the greedy, is what it boils down to.
What if there was a
Like, you
version of
can't,
capitalism that didn't reward the greedy?
um, provided that, like, the democratic, like the socialism. I'm sitting here gesturing towards my camera like as if it were on. Like the general idea of socialism, I think is something that is attainable for us in the next 50 to 100 years. I don't think like the full fully automated luxury gay space communism, we're going to be able to see, unless the rich want to give up power. Like that's kind of what it boils down to, is that there's so much stuff that's getting entrenching all the power and wealth into the mega rich, and it's just it's a feedback loop.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I used to joke about this. I joked about this 8 years ago when Donald Trump was first getting elected, and I was like, listen, guys, you guys need to like sort your shit out, because in about like 10 to 20 years, like the rich people, once they have factories that can make drones that can hunt down the peasants, like you're fucked. It's over. Somebody told me there's a Black Mirror episode about this.
I think I slightly disagree with you guys there. I think, but I think we're getting sidetracked.
You don't think billionaires, okay? Let's say billionaires, okay? They don't need the poor anymore. You don't think if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't be on my going on my stag do with my mates, being like, lads, let's go hunt some pavos, and we jump into the fucking VR high-tech drone that's just flying through the slum streets, gunning down waves of fucking poor people. You're crazy. Like when you're a billionaire,
I think definitely some people would do that. Yeah.
If you're a billionaire,
I'd like to think most wouldn't.
You're completely detached from consequences or morality when you attain that level of wealth.
Yep.
Rather, what I mean is people who attain that no longer, like normally, if you have to rely on other people in your society, you have to. If you're like a sociopath, you have to maintain a certain level of agreeableness, right? But the second you're untethered from the moral fucking, I don't know what the word is, like the moral chains, we're gonna have drones fucking gunning down I don't know, children in fucking
like I definitely don't think that's I don't think that that's impossible. I don't think that really is impossible, but I think the idea that is very dystopian that we could ever allow it to get that far. See, when I look at American capitalism, obviously it has its flaws. Its healthcare is an absolute mess. And there's a whole load of other issues it's got with it. Yeah. But what I will give it is that it has incentivized a lot of really strong international companies that wouldn't exist under any other system. I mean, since the UK left Brexit, we've been doing more and more trade with the US. And the way you can tell this is I'll walk into a local Tesco's and I'll see American sweets. Where 5 years ago, if I was to want American sweets, I'd have to go to these really niche shops in the middle of bloody nowhere. So,
well, when you point that out, I think with just the international corporations, some of these things that couldn't exist, a lot of that's a byproduct of the 50s, 60s, and 70s before basically Reagan took over, when our corporate tax rate was so high. Like RCA used to be this big, huge company that like literally they just paid, they had an entire division just paid to come up with problems and solve them. So, but we don't have that kind of raw research anymore. And then because you get to where you get more into the profit incentive and like, oh, we got to be profitable, and how corporate taxes got cut, like productivity has gone up, 400%, 500% since the 80s, but the worker wage, has not.
Well, don't you have to kind of adjust for the fact that like also the price of certain things and certain qualities and the accessibility of certain things has come down significantly. Like, yes, okay, sure, productivity is up 400% and maybe wages are only up 150. I don't know what the actual numbers are, right? But then you have in your pocket like the most powerful piece of technology on earth, and it's probably costing you like what, $80 a month or something? Who knows how?
But that's a red herring though. Like, so what? Like, what I mean is stop that wealth. It doesn't stop that wealth from continuing to trickle upwards instead of trickle down like it was.
What promised. I'm saying is $1 of quality of life is not quite the same like today as it was 100 years ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I agree with that. But when basically money is power and all of this stuff, everything that we've been doing for the last 50 years, at least here in America, has concentrated all that wealth up to the top 100%, and everyone is convinced. I had a conversation about inflation like a couple of days ago, and I'm like, if it were actually inflation, all these corporations would not be posting record profits still.
Here's a question: I think billionaires are going to become like the fucking you got to pick a billionaire, dude. Like it's going to be Mark Cuban versus Mark Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk. They're going to team up. And I don't know which fucking billionaire I'm going to fucking join his online Warrior. I think I got to join Mark Zuckies. Oh, fuck. I'm Team Mark because all the
Do you-
billionaires are going to own society. They're going to have their own personal armies. Holy shit. I'm going to be Mark Zuckerberg's fucking general, bro. It's going to be lit. Who wants to join
New
me
general for Civ 7
in the
confirmed.
fucking Mark Zuckerberg billionaire legion? Because I tell you, dude, if shit keeps going this way, we're going to have the wars. It's going to be ogre.
I mean, it's kind of a matter of time at this point, isn't it? I mean, like, I don't know, maybe this is a bit too off topic, but
No veering. Where are you veering to?
I was veering on potential collapse, but we'll leave that there.
I don't think we're going to ever see a collapse. Things crumble.
Not
they
in
don't-
our lifetime.
Things crumble. They don't collapse.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rome.
But Rome
It's
didn't really. I don't think
not
Rome really collapsed. It crumbled, right? It didn't.
It-
It
Yeah,
didn't
that's what,
disappear
I'm
overnight.
agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
With the Byzantines as well, they went on 1,000 years afterwards.
That's true.
Well, and even then, they never called themselves the Byzantines either.
They called themselves the Romans. I mean, even the Holy Roman
They're-
Empire,
Exactly.
they were like, we're Rome. Russia was like, we're Rome. Technically, there's probably a Greek island somewhere that has been like an uncontacted tribe of fucking Greek people who still think they're living in Pompeii or something.
In Tuscany in Italy, there's some villages that still practice paganism, like from the Roman days.
Based. You know what I've learned from this election? I really feel like just people aren't online enough, because I saw that fucking tweet from James Medlock where it was like Google searches and it was like, who is Donald Trump and who's running for president? Like the day before the election, people are like, oh shit, it's election day tomorrow. Let me find out who I'm voting for. And I'm like, I don't know how you're that unplugged. This is a level of unplugged from politics that I could only wish to attain.
Yeah, 100%.
So wait, how do you see if capitalism is the wrong mode of production, if it's the wrong way, what is the right way?
Oh,
Or rather,
that was,
a better question is, what is the country that does it best right now, and why?
oh god, I'm not really like, because again, too, where it's hard to say because most countries are in some form of capitalism. There's a lot of structure to a lot of like France and Germany. They have the things that I don't like. Socialized healthcare and all this other stuff. So like it's hard to, and everyone does it a little bit differently. So it's like, okay, I like elements of this and elements of that. And also too, I'm a little embarrassed by being put on the spot.
You're good. No,
Um,
you're good. I'm just asking you. I just wanted to see if
like-
you would say something like China.
No, well, I mean, all China is a capitalist oligarchy, just like Russia. It's just that it's all controlled by, they say that they're communist and they
disagree.
are.
You disagree?
Yeah.
Oh
So-
shit! I just found like two pit bulls. Get each other. Go. Get them.
So I can understand the stance that it kind of can be I can understand where you're coming from, but China's unique because it operates in both capitalism and communism in the sense that it lets its private businesses, when verified by the government, to operate in a capitalist sort of way. But that's only if they've been verified and if they've been allowed to. When you look at every other sort of policy and living standard in China, it's very communist. In fact, there's a lady who was running for local governor in America against one woman who had moved out of China and become an American citizen and went on this massive tirade about basically how horrible it is to kind of live your life under that kind of supervision, especially with how the social credit score works, where it's like you lose enough social credit score, you're not allowed to travel, you're not allowed to take the trains because you're deemed a menace.
Wait, wait, hold on.
I thought that social credit thing was just like made up.
You're rambling.
No.
Wait, hold on. Social. You've mentioned something that we can fact check you on. What is the social credit score? Tell us about that.
So it's a system of measurement that will be judged on your actions, on how you operate through society, and it can limit you from basic things such as travel, as far as I'm aware.
Bad score can limit you. Okay. Let's do a
Bad
little,
score
let's
can
do a
limit
little
you,
live
like, your
research,
freedom.
okay? China social credit score rollout. Let's see. Has it actually been implemented?
Yeah.
So
General Mark
initially
said
back in
he's,
2014. Okay, hold on. I'm reading. This is MIT Technology News. Oh my God. Why does every website have a billion pop-ups? Thank you, EU, for protecting my rights. I hate you also. Okay. Has the government built a system that is actively regulating these two types of credits? The short answer is no. Initially, back in 2014, the plan was to have a national system tracking all social credit ready by 2020. Now it's almost 2023, and the long-anticipated legal framework for the system was just released in November 22 draft law. So This looks like many years behind on the rollout of this. That said, the government still mostly figured out the financial part. The Zhenjin system, first released in the public in 2006 and significantly updated in 2020, is essentially Chinese equivalent of American Credit Bureau scoring and is maintained by the country's central bank. It records the financial history of 1.14 billion Chinese individuals and gives them credit scores, and as well as almost 100 million companies, although it doesn't give them scores. On the social side, however, regulations have been patchy and vague. To date, the national government has only built a system focused on companies, not individuals, which aggregates data on corporate regulation compliance from different government agencies. Kendra Schaefer, head of technology research at Beijing-based consultancy firm Trivium China, has described it in a report for the US government's US-China Economic and Security Review Commission as roughly equivalent to the IRS, FBI, EPA, USDA, FDA, HH, Homeland Security, HUD, Department of Energy, Department of Education, and every courthouse, police station, and major utility company in the United States sharing regulatory records across a single platform. The result is openly searchable by any Chinese citizen on a recently built website, Credit China. Now, if I was really doing proper deep checks here, like I would look into who is Kendra Schaefer, who is Kendra Schaefer, what is her political leanings, does she have a reason to lie, etc. But there's some data on people on organizations in here, Chinese legitimate companies that have approved to build robots, hospitals to have found to have conducted insurance fraud. So it doesn't actually seem like it's implemented except for companies right now.
So that's my misunderstanding. My apologies.
Where did you hear that China had implemented the social credit score thing?
God, it was a couple of years back. It was just one of those things that I read and saw a video on and a breakdown on how it worked, but I must have misunderstood as in this is how they want it to work, not as in this is how it's actually working. That's my misunderstanding.
Okay, so I'm just looking up more about this because this was only one fact check. I'm going to see if I can find the most recent.
General Ma is saying he lived in China, and apparently if you express dissent against the government, you can be restricted from travel and other services.
Dylan Burns. Oh my God. What's up, Dylan? Thank you very much. Appreciate you, buddy. Happy to have played Civ with you way back in the day. Thank you for the raid. So hold on. You think so? Your premise on China being a communist place was based.
It was just one of the things I was going to go on to.
Okay, so let's all right.
Was the control, but
China is communist because of social credit system. So that we're at least wrong. I'm not saying it's debunked, but we're at least like there's some uncertainty there now, right? Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I'll take uncertainty. I'm not gonna here's the thing. China's probably doing some fucked up shit with human rights. I'm not gonna deny you there. I am gonna be like, well, what are the specific I've heard shit like they fucking harvest prisoners' organs. You hear this wild shit about this country, but I don't know what really is going on over there. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. I don't actually know what's going on. Because I haven't done the research, right? You're like scrolling Reddit and you see like China has done something really fucked up today, and I'm like, damn, that sounds like all the other news I've heard about China. But I don't actually know, right? What's the next thing that makes you think China is a communist country?
So from my understanding of how they regulate their markets, they're very how to phrase this. So the best way to kind of explain this from my understanding as a British person is that when it comes to foreign markets, they have absolute control over what films are allowed to be watched. And when it comes to media, they have a very strict censorship on what can be viewed on the internet. And they're very, we've all heard the thing about them banning Doctor Who and Peppa Pig from now and then, right? But I don't know how much that's true, but I know that there is heavy internet censorship. And I see what I saw yesterday was like someone joking about the fact that if it wasn't for that censorship, all of the Western internet would just be flooded with Chinese shitposts.
Probably
holding it back.
I will say this: the Chinese internet has some of the most banging memes I've ever seen. Whenever they get translated, I'm like, fuck, these guys are on a different level. So question a question about absolute control over foreign films, strict censorship, banning Doctor Who, banning Peppa Pig, all this stuff. Is this strictly the actions of a communist country, or would this not fit better under the broader umbrella of authoritarianism?
It is just
yes.
Wait, no. I'm talking to Jiraxu. Jiraxu's a Trumple. We're live. We're doing this is deconversion therapy right now. Okay.
Talk about the tofu.
Yeah. So obviously, authoritarian. It's under the branch of authoritarianism. But when you, what's very, very, very common with, especially the way that the Soviet Union played out, is one of the first things they do is censor books and have complete state control on every form of education. And I can't speak on because I don't know very much about the Chinese religious aspect. But if it was to follow the trends of a typical communist country, they would be heavily restrictive on religion and religious figures.
I have a question, because you're basically talking about the censorship of the freedom of information, right? Like hey, you're not allowed to read this book because it's a little too gay, or whatever thing that the government doesn't like, right? This book is too pro-trans. Yeah. This book is too pro-capitalism, and we don't want you reading that. And you don't think it's a good idea to interfere with the free flow of information?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
now,
in combination,
I have a question before we move on. The combination we'll get to. I'll write that down. In combination. Sorry to interrupt you. Are you aware that Donald Trump has expressed desires to shut down journalists, revoking journalists' gradations to the White House pass or whatever, if they are critical, if they are critical of him?
Revoking.
Is that not interfering with the free flow of information?
I think we need to fact check this one, because from my understanding on that one was that it was a specific, I think it was ABC or it was one of them that had openly edited a Kamala Harris interview, swapped the answers for one of the other answers, and we could see that the answer had been swapped because for the preview the answer was different when the question was actually asked. It was like the 60 Minutes or something. And
actually, we've actually got right here from CNNbusiness.com. This is from this was from November 5th. This is from yesterday, okay? The Trump campaign denies and revokes journalists' election night credentials after they critically covered his campaign. Journalists from multiple news organizations have been denied credentials to former President Donald Trump's election night watch event at West Palm Beach in retaliation for their coverage of Trump's campaign.
Okay, so he denied certain news sources at the sort of final speech.
Sure, but like, wouldn't you want, like, don't you think do you not find the freedom of press, the freedom of information, is that not like a strong value to you that people, like even people who are critical of you?
Yeah, so here's where it's nuanced, right? Because throughout 99% of the time I'd agree with you, absolutely. But I can understand why he would do that, because there's still news coverage, and even the BBC was there that night, which was obviously, which has been historically a news source that was critical of him. So it's not like he's banned all of the ones that were critical of them. But the main thing for me is that watching his campaign, as I have since he announced he was running again, you've seen nothing but these news sources lie, misinterpret things, pull things out of context intentionally to paint him in this awful light because they obviously want to help their preferred candidate. So especially when you have, like I was saying about the 60-second news thing, where they're actively changing answers, and then they put out an apology saying, oh, it's to make her look more coherent. Well, it wasn't word for word, but essentially they changed the answer to make her look more coherent to viewers. That is election interference. So when you have,
hold on, you talked for a little bit there, and I want to make sure I understood what you said. So you were saying that they basically rephrased something. Were you saying it was something that Donald Trump said, or something Kamala Harris said to make it more coherent?
So a lot of the news sites have taken Trump out of context throughout this entire election. There's many examples to be found of that.
Okay.
But with the Kamala Harris thing, there's a specific news site that he wants their broadcasting rights taken away because they swapped out one of her answers on the Ukraine topic, I believe, for a completely different answer to make her look more coherent in the topic. That's direct editing of a direct answer to make her look more competent. That, by definition,
you know what? I think that's pretty comparable to people like Ben Shapiro and stuff like that, and other political pundits, like kind of sane washing the insane stuff that Trump says. I think like a journalist being like, "Hey, your answer on this wasn't so great. Do you want to give us like a written answer so the less of the articles a little better?"
It wasn't like a written answer. It was like So you've got two different answers, right, on the clip. What they did is they cut one answer, removed it, and replaced it for an answer later on, and then cut that bit later.
Okay.
So they re-edited the interview around to make her look more coherent. It wasn't like a, can you write it down and make me look better? It's they actively chose as a broadcasting station to do that because they thought she didn't look competent enough in the first answer.
Here's a question. What if that's what they did for all political candidates? If they just wanted to make every political candidate look as good as possible?
Well, then I think none of them should be in business.
So you think?
I prefer the more Joe Rogan style of unedited, this is their answers.
Okay.
Which is because I think when you start editing it around to, like a YouTuber example, they'll cut all the ifs, the stumbles that I've probably made millions of this call. That's obviously fine for a YouTuber because who wants to sit there and listen to a guy go, But I think when you're choosing a political candidate that's going to be in charge of your country, you need to show them how quick their thinking skills are, how competent they are at talking, and how quick-witted they are. I think that's vital. So if you're actively messing around with that, you're changing the perception of a person to make it something that isn't true.
Okay, and you
And
think,
that's-
and in this instance, you think it's okay to revoke that reporting institutions? I don't know what he would revoke, but he's like saying like, I want to get them.
Yeah, so what he asked for was for their broadcasting license to be removed. Now, I don't think that's enough, but
You-
I think it's
Wait, you don't think
enough
that's-
to be able to
You don't think that's enough
to strip your
of a
rights away.
punishment?
No, to strip the rights away like completely. I think it's enough to open an investigation to be like, right, if they're already doing this, which is small scale, sort of editing, manipulating, falsifying a person's character, what other shady things are they doing? I think it's enough to open up an investigation.
How do you feel
But
about
I don't
Donald
think-
Trump? I think did Donald Trump's campaign retweet a fake AI generated image of Taylor Swift endorsing him? Can anyone fact check me on that? Is that something that I just fucking hallucinated? How do you feel about that?
I remember
Um,
seeing that.
I have not heard anything about that, but something I did see was someone.
No. Wait. Assume that that's
okay.
true. How do you feel about that?
Assume that's wrong. That's horrific. That's the same thing. That's like if Taylor Swift hasn't actually endorsed him, which she hasn't. She endorsed Tim Waltz, weirdly enough.
Wait, how do you feel about Tim Waltz?
I don't know enough about the guy except that he lied about being at the Tiananmen Square massacre.
Fuck.
What?
So this is like some. So this is actually fuck. I don't remember this one, but I think this is actually just straight up misinformation. So what actually happened was he was saying like I was there, as in like he was in China a little while after like shit was getting really political over there. I don't think he was actually saying he was there at the Tiananmen Square massacre. I think this. I don't know enough about this one to fully
thanks, man.
debunk this one, but this one sounded like that. That one right there sounded
That's
like.
the only thing I've heard about him.
That one, that right there, that
Oh,
one I
and,
think is just straight up misinfo. But also,
I
did you
hope
know
so.
that the Trump campaign said that they revoked the reporters' access because of their coverage, because they claimed it was inaccurate and not critical. Do you think it's kind of weird to revoke someone's credentials?
Well, it's not like they've lost their credentials from reporting forever. It's just they weren't allowed at that event, right?
But he's like retaliating against specific journalists. Like, here's the thing. If you retaliate against specific journalists, like let's say, okay, I'm going to lay out a hypothetical here. Let's say Donald Trump, he's El Presidente. Yeah, also, I think you repeated that Tim Waltz Tiananmen Square story with the confidence of a man who read one line of text about that. And I'm really
No,
shocked.
I was just, I didn't, I just said that's the only thing I've heard about him. I don't know a lot about him.
That's
That was
fucking
literally-
wild, bro.
Yeah.
Listen.
Oh, and that Taylor Swift supported him because of his stance on the LGBT, but I don't actually know what that stance is. I know very little about that, man.
Damn, Jesus. Okay. Anyway, so let's say El Trumperino, he is the fucking guy, okay? And then I go, and I'm like, you know what? Donald Trump's a bit of a...
Yeah.
I don't like Donald Trump. He's not very good, okay? Donald Trump is like, you know what? You're not allowed at any more of my press conferences. All the other journalists are welcome, though. Do you not think there'll be a bit of a... I think it's called a chilling effect, where other journalists are kind of kowtowed and made to feel like they're not safe to criticize him until eventually that everyone that reports on Trump is just kind of sycophantic?
No, because the BBC were there.
The BBC were there.
The BBC were there.
Specifically American journalism.
Okay. It could have that effect, but I'd need to look into more which news sites he did actually allow in and which ones he didn't, because there's a very good chance that he wasn't incorrect in that statement, that they weren't just critical, but they straight up lied.
Okay.
Because there are many clips of news things clipping a joke he said, and then and then the news article being like, "Oh, Donald Trump wants to do this to women or whatever." You know what I mean?
Totally. I think this has been an interesting conversation. Do you think I have like moved or changed your opinion at all? Like, do you think I have at least opened the doorway to like? Do you feel like this conversation was fruitful? As in, like, not just that we had a conversation, but that something good came of this conversation.
Yeah, I think I've come a bit less gun ho on tariffs, but I still like them.
It's okay. Listen, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm okay with you liking tariffs. I want people to know what the fuck they are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the main reason I like them the most, which is what I was originally going to say, was because of the sort of focus on internalism, right? And when you asked your
The
question
only
earlier
person
that I
I
could
focus
respond
on
to.
internalism with is your mom, buddy. Okay.
Oh, nice, nice. There was something that I thought of earlier that I couldn't type in time, and it was when you were asking about wealth, right? Like, would you prefer a country to be wealthier or like have tariffs and be less wealthy, right? Whereas, like, it reminded me of kind of like Japan, right, where their economy right now it's fucked, right? If you're English
Wait,
going
why
to
is it fucked?
Japan, oh, because of the yen's the lowest it's ever been in God knows how long. It's like I think £1 is about 200 yen. And
Why is that
when I
bad?
went there, because when I went there, it was only
Wait.
like £1 was like 100. So that's doubled in the time since last February.
Do you think having a strong currency is good?
Not always, but I don't think it's essential. But I think.
But wait, you were
it's
just
generally a
making
good
the
thing.
sorry, you were just making the argument that Japan's economy was fucked because their currency was weak.
Yes, but here's where I was going with it was that even though its currency is weaker on an international scale, the quality of life there is lovely. I mean, for the price of a meal deal, you can get a ramen and a beer. I mean, that's fantastic.
Wait, but then why would we say Japan's economy is fucked if people have like a sick as fuck life?
Because
Isn't that
I'm
what the
coming at it
economy
from
is for?
yeah, but I'm coming at it from a British perspective with
Oh, sorry,
with the
Japan doesn't have any
luxury.
colonies or like places that they own anymore. Right,
No,
got it.
no,
So that's the
no,
problem.
I
I
meant,
get it.
like,
Okay, sorry. I forgot there was a
the-
Britmonger in chat. You got to have
Yeah.
places you could put your little flag. No, okay.
True. No, but the pound goes further, right? Whereas, like in Japan, people are starting to suffer because of the price of the yen falling, so things are becoming harder to afford. But I'd say the quality of life there, you can still afford an apartment for about 18,000. I think it's like 18,000. I'm gonna have to recheck that. It's been a while since I've looked at that. But Japan's an example of on an international stage. Like you compared it to Britain, which Britain's not doing too great economically. You have a much stronger currency and stuff like that. So internationally, you could say they're less wealthy, but even though they're
the
less
thing,
wealthy,
the thing is, like when your currency gets
they're doing
weaker,
well.
your exports get stronger, right? Because it means Japan, like having a weak currency for Japan means that manufacturing is better. Like if you want goods in America, what you got to do is you got to make the dollar weak. Like what if you just started printing dollars to make the dollar like weak as shit, and now you can just export all the stuff. Suddenly the balance of trade changes, right? My point is here,
Well,
I don't think Japan's problems are purely economic. I think a lot of Japan's problems come from a cultural issue with
and the fact they're not having kids.
well, yes, it comes from a. I don't understand Japan well enough to really know whether or not they're fucked or what's going on with them. And here's the thing, and I'm not trying to be insulting or trying to be mean,
Yeah.
or trying to downplay you or dismiss you or whatever. But I also don't think like
Yeah.
you know Japan well enough to really know either, right?
No, not
Because why
not
would we fucking
100%,
know about
just,
this random ass unless you're like a
just-
giga weeb and you're like eating not kimchi, that's fucking Korea. Whatever the fucking Japanese people eat. You know what I mean? Like unless you're like giga weeb, you're wearing
Yeah,
a
no,
kimono and you're watching fucking anime
I
every
do-
day. Like
I
why do
do.
you care about
Oof.
Japan's economy
Oof.
so much?
No, the general point I was making is on an international stage, you can be seen as like not a very wealthy nation, or like have a weak currency in comparison, but you can still be like it doesn't mean that like the quality of life is inherently like worse, if that makes sense. That's kind of I didn't make the point very well, but that's kind of what I was getting at when you were earlier saying,
Oh, I
like,
get
what would
you.
you prefer?
So
What would you
you were
prefer,
saying like,
wealth
oh yeah,
or
I don't mind
tariffs?
people having half as much money because everything would just be cheaper.
Yeah, that's kind of like if everything stayed the same price and people had less money, then that's obviously bringing a lot of people into poverty that weren't there before. That's not great. That's a bad thing. And that's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier when it came to that first.
Well, I think this
Yeah.
has been a really interesting conversation. What do you think was your strongest conversational piece in this conversation?
I don't know. I'd say my I don't know. I'm a bit of a yapper, so I think
Well, your yapping
I think
days are
I-
done, buddy, okay? Because we've heard enough from the British in this time of American elections. Do we have an American in the chat who's willing to come here and talk to me about the American election? I want a Trump voter in here, right? Like stat.
Oh, Potato, how do you feel about this is something I saw today. Someone trying to update the traditional Irish dance with like this weird twist move, if you've seen it.
Is it the one with the Irish African girl dancing?
Yeah.
I Listen, buddy, I made a tweet about. Did you not see my tweet?
No, because I thought it was quite cool.
Did you?
So, but I saw a lot of people quite angry about it, right?
You sound
But-
you sound exactly like the kind of person who would be really cool with people taking white culture and changing it.
That's a crazy sentence. But I don't actually, you may not believe this, but I think culture is something that changes over time, right? I don't
That's
think-
interesting because that was my argument when I was arguing with all the people who were super mad that Irish culture is being destroyed because I think the exact wording was something like we're importing the twerking Africans was what they said about it, which is just fucking wild shit to say. And the fact that you're laughing at that tells me exactly where you stand on the Irish
Sorry,
dancing.
that's
listen,
terrific.
Listen, I understand. Look, listen, buddy, you're here wearing your little liberal mask, but I know you.
my liberal mask. That's
right.
crazy. I'm half Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
We call him a liberal.
Yeah, a liberal. Yeah, that's true. No, I genuinely,
No,
when
because
it,
I don't
when it
think
comes
it
to the
takes
Irish
anything-
dancing thing, in my opinion, I think, look, culture is meant to be experienced. Culture is a living thing. It is not a thing to be put in a museum. It is not a relic. It is not something to be preserved unchanged. Okay, it is nice to
Yeah.
preserve cultures, but that does not mean that the culture has zero change ever. Okay, like if somebody wants to Irish dance and put a little spin on it, fucking up and at them. Okay, you go get them, go nuts. Okay, I might not particularly find that dance particularly cool, but it's whatever, bro. It's fine. If you're smiling and you're respectful, go nuts. If some fucking, I don't know, I'm trying to think of another type of dancing from a different country. Like if somebody who does like salsa dancing, I don't even know what country that's from, right? Somebody who's from a salsa dancing country, they want to put in a little bit of Irish tap dancing. You know what? Fucking power to you. I love that. You're experiencing Irish culture. If you want to come over to Ireland and you want to go to a Cayley and you want to dance on the weekend and you want to sing Irish songs, the more the merrier. Because culture is
Cayleys
something
are
to be
fun.
shared, not to be gatekeeped.
No, I agree.
You sound like you agree.
I don't know what that means. No, seriously, because I don't think it takes anything away from the past culture, which is obviously the classical version. It's just a new interpretation of it. I mean, nothing I love more than a culture victory.
I don't know. It just seems really interesting to me that everything you've told me says that your media diet is incredibly right-wing skewed.
I can understand that, but I think that's because I'm the only one coming at it from this angle. I'm actually quite central.
That is, I'm a centrist is like every Trump voter's fucking
No,
line, bro.
I know, but like for realsy, because
Give me your most centrist
but-
take. Give me your centrist take right now.
My most centrist take.
Why don't
I
you
think
just-
we need.
Okay,
Huh?
go. I was going to say, why don't you just own that you're a little right winger in the making? But it's okay. It's okay to be right wing
in the
as long as
making.
it's okay to be right wing as long as you're not insane. Okay, but tell me.
No, I don't think I'm as right as a lot of some of my friends.
Wait,
are,
give me
but
your
I'm more
centrist
left leaning.
take
Like
first.
my centrist take would
Yeah.
be that I think taxes are good. I think when you have a competent government and they're used well, they're great. I think we need, not too much government interference, but then there also needs to be enough where it's like not what's the guys, libertarians. I'm not a libertarian, but
I was
do
just about to
think we need
ask,
less.
are you a libertarian? Because
But I think we
there's
need
two questions
less-
that you ask people. It's like, are you a libertarian? And then the second question is, what do you think the age of consent should be? And that is,
Yep.
that pipeline is incredibly fast.
It's terrifying.
So tell me, so your centrist take
It's-
is that taxes are good.
Yeah.
Why, like,
Well, the
but
problem
this is
I'm
like
not-
saying good
it's
things
not
are
so
good.
much-
Like, what are, give me a
Well,
centrist,
yeah.
give me a centrist policy. Give me a centrist,
centrist policy.
policy.
I say it's more that I have a lot of left-leaning things that I agree with, and I have some right-leaning things that I agree with.
All right,
For example,
go.
I'm very, very pro gay marriage and LGBT. Most of my friends are gay by all this. I've got some trans friends as well, so I'm very pro that. I think, but on the swing of that, that makes me a little bit right-wing, is I think for the surgeries, we should wait till people are a bit older so they have that final say, because
I'm
a
gonna
lot
be
of
honest
people
with
have
you.
come.
Listen, trans stuff. I am so
Yeah.
uneducated on this area and topic
Yeah.
of discussion that
No
I just don't even touch it. I just don't touch it because
Fair
here's the
enough.
thing.
Fair enough.
This is very like I have black friends. I'm just gonna say, dude, like I don't know what's
I
wrong with the
understand,
vibe
but
I'm
this
getting
is-
from
this
you.
is-
This is like, this is.
This is where I was going with it, with the policy. Is I'm pro for it. You know, I go to Pride with a lot of my friends, and because I'm an actor as well.
Oh god!
So I
Somebody
do,
else joined. Somebody else talk, so I don't have to listen to this fucking Brit bonger
Oh.
talk about taxes anymore. No, they left. Okay, continue.
But yeah, that's I just have a lot of things where I tend to agree with the left, and my granddad was a coal miner, he was in the Labour Party, so I'm very pro workers' rights, very pro unions.
Would you call yourself
but I-
sort of economically liberal but socially conservative? Like, you think there should be good social programs for people, but like culture and our people should be protected from being like, you know, eroded, and like our culture like matters a lot.
Yeah, I'd say that's
Oh
where
my
yeah,
God.
I'd say that's, but it not completely. So I think culture is something that's important
Fuck.
that you need to.
You know, I used to
Remember-
say. Sorry to interrupt you. It's just that you don't understand what you've stepped into here. So it used to be a really big meme that people would say like, "Oh, I'm socially liberal, but I'm fiscally conservative."
Right.
And this was like, this for a long time was like the Lib Dem voter demographic. It was like the champagne socialist demographic, okay? And just to fucking meme, I used to say, like, I used to joke that I'm fiscally liberal but socially conservative. It's like, I think we should have free healthcare, but not for gay people. And I cannot believe
Right.
that
Well, I
said
didn't mean
that.
like that. I didn't mean like that.
I
Oh my
can't
God.
believe you were just like, yeah, I'm fiscally liberal but socially conservative. Like,
I'd say I have a mix on like I'm pro welfare, I'm pro free healthcare, I'm pro unions, but I do think we need lower corporation taxes, because when they not lower, but they need to be competitive, because if you don't have competitive corporation taxes, they will take their head bases and most of their money into different countries. So you'll just, by raising them like Labour have in the newest budget, you'll just chase companies away. You're not going to actually be making that much more money.
I don't know what the number is for the,
That makes
you know what the
sense.
Laffer curve is, right? A certain amount of tax you charge, blah, blah, blah. You actually end up with less revenue. Like, I don't even know if corporation tax even matters, like in the sense of like, if we charged zero, does it matter? I think what matters more is the managing the transfer of capital and expenditure. Like, you don't want a money to make a whole bunch of money. You don't want a company to make a whole bunch of money in your country and then just ship it off to some random bumfuck middle of nowhere tax haven, right? That's like the worst outcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, dude, I'm all for the UK lowering their taxes. It's not like
Amen.
oh shit, do you know about the city of London? Isn't the UK like one of the biggest tax havens in the entire world already?
So it was kind of. So
Kind of.
London has this really weird thing where people like to say the UK is a third world country attached to London, because London does like most of the heavy lifting, but it's more than just London. It's like London and sort of the southeast, like Cambridge as well. That sort of area of England is very, because Cambridge has tons and tons of tech companies, and a lot of the vaccine companies actually set up shop in Cambridge during the COVID time.
Uh-huh.
So these are massive economic places, and then the rest of the country is kind of just attached to them. So if you want a good job in the UK, you will have to go into London or somewhere like Leeds, a big city, and then you'll go like back to where you're from. But if you go in the north, like where I've gone back home now, just a town called Chesterfield, I can get a pint for £2. In Cambridge, it's about £6.57 for the same pint. So
So wait,
It's like a lot-
what is the issue there?
So the issue is all of the business and all of the economic growth that you see is coming pretty much out of London, and then a few bits around the country, because they'll set up shop there, because way back when corporation taxes were really, really low, but they weren't paying wages very high. So it's like, and I think it's got some sort of legal separation, like something like the City of London isn't actually London. There's some like fuckery there.
Yeah, it's like
I'd
its
have
own
to-
independent city-state. It's been around forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I fucking watched a YouTube video, which is how I get all of my misinformation, by the way. I watched a YouTube video on it, and I think I watched like a documentary or something. I don't fucking remember. You know what? I think we gotta stop saying we watched a YouTube video. You gotta say I watched a documentary, because it just sounds so much more
Sounds
like
better.
you're actually informed, and you didn't just get all of your opinions directly plugged into your brain from the internet. Give me your spiciest take, your hottest take about politics.
Oh, my politics.
I'm ready.
I've wrote a full manifesto. Let me have a look at it.
Oh my fucking
So-
god! I cannot believe this is the guy I pulled in here. You have a manifesto.
Yeah.
I think I need to take you off the air, because if you end up fucking doing some crazy
No,
terrorism
not
later,
like that.
I'm
Oh
gonna be
my
like
God,
an
no,
enabler.
not like that.
It's fucking.
Oh my God, no.
This is gonna be like Ted
No,
Kaczynski
it's
2.0.
policy. It's policy.
Jesus Christ.
I
I'm
know, it's
sorry.
like,
Yeah,
things I would
this
do
is
if I
so
was Prime
true.
Minister.
No centrist has ever written a manifesto, okay?
A manifesto, crazy.
Oh, where is it?
I have never heard of a centrist writing a manifesto. That would be like if, fuck, I don't even know a good analogy there. That's wild.
Things I'd fix. Okay, so I've got. It's not really a manifesto. It's just things I'd fix if I was Prime Minister.
Okay, fuck. I think this was an
manifesto,
assignment when I was.
Also,
So, okay,
Christopher.
my most controversial one would be I think the head of our Prime Minister and all of our politicians that are in the House of Commons need to be on the medium wage salary of the average individual in the UK.
The medium wage. Okay, let's hold on. That's a hot. That is a. So let's see, median or medium.
As in the average wage.
Like the median wage. Okay, median
Yep.
wage UK. The median wage in the UK is 34,000. Okay, it's
Yep.
call it 35,000 pounds. What is what do you call your
I
guys?
think-
UK MP salary. The UK MP salary is 91,000 pounds. These people live in London, don't they?
No. A lot of them will drive in and live on the outskirts on really nice houses that they've gotten through lobbying and selling away their votes, or they've come from really rich families.
That's I don't know how legal it is to sell your vote, but that's an interesting thing. Wouldn't you want it to be the opposite? Like, if
No,
you
hear me
hold
out.
on, wait, hear me out. If you
Okay.
make politicians poorer, wouldn't that make them
Mm-hmm.
want to sell their vote more to make more money? Wouldn't we want to make politicians like giga rich?
So I understand. That's definitely a valid point because, yeah, if you're poorer, you're going to want to sell your vote out. But if you, as the Prime Minister, are tied to a nation's average wealth, I promise you, wages will not rise any faster than the policies that they will be making to make sure that they have a better wage themselves. Also, the problem is a lot of our PMs like to say they're working class, like Keir Starmer, when in reality his dad owns several factories. I feel like a lot of our politicians don't know a single thing about what it's actually like to live as a common British person, and therefore are so detached from the decisions they're making. That's why they keep making so many damn mistakes. They'll
I have a hotter take that's even hotter than your take. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
want a truly representative democracy, you need to pick your leaders randomly based on different criteria. So it needs to be like, okay, we got to have, let's say we have 100 people. We look at the demographics of the country. Okay, we've got 70% British people, so 70 British MPs, 30 of all the other ethnicities. And then you've got like, okay, we need 100 people. We need one person from the 1% wealthiest. We need one person from the 99% wealthiest. You know, you just completely randomly select. And from chaos, we can actually burn another country to the ground. Let's go, baby.
So it just like, so would that just be like election by lottery?
Yeah, it'd be a lottery
Yeah.
election.
Here's another spicy take.
Actually,
I
hold on.
think-
If I could interject right now from what you said, British guy.
Go for it, Radiant.
From what you've explained, basically, how do politicians get their money? Because their fathers are rich, because their salaries, their money doesn't come from their salary. If what you're saying is indeed true.
True.
It comes from corruption, from family times, from whatever else. So changing a politician's salary will not matter that much.
Well, yeah,
True.
that's only one of the many combinations I've got here. Another thing that I would do is with the voting system, our voting system needs to completely change because it's keeping people, like you've said, that are family over and over and again in power. So I change it to equal representation because the problem is we're not going to be able to get rid of these corrupt,
Oh, do you mean
lovely
like
individuals.
proportional representation? Like if 60% of people vote for Labour, you get a 60% Labour cabinet.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, and then another one.
Dude, I can't
that-
believe you were sitting on a manifesto this whole time that we've been talking and you didn't break it out. Next time you go on a date, I want you to bring your manifesto with you and just be like, sit down with whoever. I don't know who you date, right? Men, women, doesn't matter. You sit down with them and you'd be like, I think you're really cute. Can I read you my manifesto?
Right, potato. Now this is going to sound fucking batshit insane to you.
Okay.
But after the first, never on the first date, but you get about 3-4 dates in, they're like, oh, so you're into politics, what do you like? And be like, check this. And then I'll read through it. They won't understand, maybe it says more about the girls I date, but they won't understand about half the things I say, and they just think it's really impressive. So it works.
No shot. Wait, do you go on to have
mean,
relationships with these women?
Yeah, no, I just got out of a 6-month relationship with my ex-girl, and that was one of the ways I impressed her. And
There's
she
no way.
doesn't care about politics.
There's no way. You're like, third date. Let's go back to my house and read my manifesto, baby. Hold
Well,
on,
it's not
I need to
quite
see
like that.
You need to put a picture. Could you DM me a picture of
Okay.
yourself? This guy's got to be Mega Cock Giga Chad the second. There's no way that a pimply, skinny nerd is bringing a girl back to his apartment and is like, "Baby, let me tell you about my manifesto."
It works, bro. It works. Trust. Let me find a photo. I'll just find my best photo and send
Go
it
for
in.
it, dude.
But it's gonna make me look like a Tory.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, that was when I
Okay,
snuck into one of the Cambridge
okay.
balls.
You can delete that now. Yeah, listen, guys, this guy looks like one of the fucking Doctor Who actors. Okay, crisis averted. It's not about his manifesto. He looks like fucking
New
Matt
leader.
Smith, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, girls are really impressed when I read them my political manifesto, and the entire time they're just thinking like, why is the handsome dude talking politics to me?" He looks 12. I
Oh.
mean, he's a young student.
That was from 2 years ago. To be fair, that's 2-year-old photo.
Oh my god.
But I look the same because I have to fresh shave. I joined the Navy. I can't say the start date because of Persec, but before the end of the month.
How do you feel about the Navy being very hard, like very heavy on so I can't remember what it's called, but like protected classes, affirmative action-y type stuff, where non-genders, emails, all that sort of stuff
Well, this might surprise you, but I'm not sexist or racist, so it doesn't bother me.
remains to be determined.
Remains to be determined. No, I just did a 4-day course for them that they do as like a preparation course,
Do you
they're
think-
very big on the no discrimination, no things like that. And I was like, that's chill.
If you were an American, would you vote for Donald Trump?
After RFK, joining him, yes, yeah. But my
That was not.
Yeah.
That was the worst answer you could have given me. The brainworm
Oh,
guy, the fucking
yeah, I like
brainworm guy.
Actually, I could give you an even worse.
The
But-
fucking
but if
whale
I-
beheading, bear killing, dolphin eating brainworm guy who wants
yeah,
to
the
ban
Giga Chad
all
himself.
this is like your politics are entirely formed by meme culture. I just know it is. You're
No, no.
the 22-year-old Andrew Tate followers that
No.
they warned us about.
Oh,
and we know
that's
it.
the worst thing you
We
could have said
know
to
it's
me.
true.
No, on
found
a
him.
real though, Tulsi Gabbard is the candidate that I wanted to win the 2020 primaries.
What
I don't know
percentage of
how
your
she
support for Tulsi Gabbard is based on the fact that she's kind of cute?
Oh,
Exactly.
no, that doesn't matter, bro.
40%?
No. No, probably about 20, but it's because she's ex-military and she mainly in the primary spoke about how she wants to do more for the veterans, and she seemed the most competent during those
Bro,
primaries in 2020.
I actually need you to stop talking because I actually just can't believe that you said you would vote for Donald Trump once he got endorsed by RFK. That is some fucking meme shit right there. Oh my god. I actually need someone to clip this. Can somebody clip that for me and send it to me, because that's an all-timer right there. Holy
Look,
shit.
RFK's not that bad. No, he's not that bad.
He beheaded a whale with a chainsaw.
Okay, I didn't know that. In all fairness,
How does it?
I know that
How does it even affect your political views? What?
Wait,
because
yeah,
I really.
okay,
really
wait.
like
How do you
his
feel?
sort of,
How do you
like,
feel about
healthcare
vaccines?
stuff. I'm double vaxxed, so
No. How do you feel about vaccines in general? Like the concept of a polio vaccine. You know,
I think that's
RFK.
fine. Yeah, as long-
RFK wants to ban vaccines.
No, that's not real. I need that fact.
I'm
check.
gonna
There's no
get
way
you
that's
to.
real.
Are you at your computer?
I need that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you to pull this up. I want you to type RFK vaccine ban because this guy, I'm pretty sure he said RFK
No way.
vaccine ban.
Trump indicates he's open to RFK's proposal to ban vaccines. What?
Crazy.
No, bro. But all he spoke about was health and getting the awful chemicals out of food and like sorting out the swamps. This is no. I need to read this. And what do you mean he beheaded a whale with a chainsaw?
Look it up. Fucking type RFK whale chainsaw. His
I still
own
don't get how that
daughter.
should,
His own daughter told a story that her dad took them to a beached whale, and for whatever reason brought a chainsaw with him, cut the head of the whale off, put it in the back of his fucking pickup truck, and the windows were broken, so they had to smell dead, rotting whale on like the 4-hour drive back to their house or whatever it was. Like, his own
Nah.
daughter said this.
Nah.
What's
Because
the matter-
all I've
you
seen
know,
him
what's the
talk about is like mental health, clearing up the fluoride levels, sorting out the food chemicals so they're the same laws in Europe where it's like a lot
Okay.
safer for consumers.
I need chat.
That's the RFK I understood.
Hold on, I need
That's
chat.
crazy.
Chat, this man, okay, would you trust him to vote. Hold on. I'm going to set up a poll in chat right
no,
now.
No, I would no.
I want to know, chat, does Jaraxu deserve to be allowed to vote? Yes or no?
I spelled it wrong. That's embarrassing.
You've got 1 minute, okay?
Yeah, no. The only thing I didn't know all that extra jazz about RFK. That's insane. How come? I thought I would. That sounds like something I should have seen.
Yeah.
Maybe you should do your independent research. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro. You know what? You gotta do your own research, bro.
That's insane.
You gotta do your own research.
Oh, bro's hitting me with the
gotta-
deep state Scientology quips.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Jaraxu, 70% of my chat thinks you should have your voting
I'm-
privileges revoked.
Yeah, I know. I'm reading it. I'm reading.
Do you think I've changed your mind a little bit on RFK with these revelations?
Oh, absolutely. Holy shit.
That he wants to ban vaccines and he beheaded a whale with a chainsaw.
That is like crazy, vital, important information that I'm
but-
surprised I've not seen.
See, the problem is for me, right? Like wanting to ban vaccines, that's like minus 1,000 points. That's crazy. But beheading a whale with a chainsaw is like plus 999 points. That's just so fucking wild that I kind of want him in power. But I also just like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it'd go hard as a poster, but I mean, like that's insane.
oh fuck. I think, yeah.
That has changed. That's changed my perspective on him because I only knew him for the positive things he spoke about. I hadn't seen him because I've watched quite a lot of his speeches, especially since he said he'd team up, and he didn't say anything about the vaccine stuff. At least that I saw. That's crazy. Yeah, no, I was wrong about that. Holy shit! But on a real,
Okay,
if, like
after this
my favorite
conversation-
political figure is Tulsi Gabbard, hands down.
Okay, after this conversation, you like come to me for the next election and you're like, Potato, which guy do you think I should vote for? Would you trust me more than yourself to pick who you should vote for?
I don't think so. I think
Like if I gave you a recommendation for you, like you were sitting there,
Oh.
you're like, who do you think I should vote for? And I was like, oh, you know, like you should vote for Tulsi Gabbard because her politics align with you on this, this, and this. Like, do you think I would be a good person to get information from?
I think generally you're trustworthy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, I'd say that.
Okay, fair. No, I was just wondering. What if I was like, okay, what if you were coming to me as like, fuck, you know what, dude, I really think our country's going to shit. I want to know who's going to make our country better. Who would you trust? Where would you go to get information to figure out who, to
On
find
who's
out who
pick.
you should vote for, right?
So I use Ground News a lot, mainly. That's how I learn about most of my stuff.
Holy fuck.
which
we
is-
actually need to study you. So this is a ground news user.
Ground
Yeah.
news?
An
Bro,
An
I-
Yeah,
RFK,
yeah,
an
because-
RFK
After
supporting
shaving your
Trump.
balls with some
No,
man
no. Let
Every-
me.
Jaraxu, no,
continue.
Jaraxu,
Let me
I need you to stop.
continue.
That is a
Every
Vulcan advertisement.
This is the
there's no way.
median voter.
You're a simulacre of a real person. There's no way that you've like taken all the meme positions, but
Well, no, because I
unironically.
like it because I can read through
How
like
long-
5 different things.
Hold on, no. How long have you been watching the Joe Rogan podcast?
I've only seen. I only.
I've
watched
only
the-
seen 80% of them. No, go on.
No. I've seen the Jordan Peterson stuff, and I've seen the Donald Trump stuff, like the recent one, because I thought it was funny.
Jaraxu, if
I
this
got a
if this
question
is a
for you.
bit,
Do you watch
Jaraxu,
TLDR
like
News?
I gotta say your commitment to the bit is fucking 10 out of 10. You're welcome back on the show whenever you want. Wait, how do you feel about Jordan Peterson, Jaraxu?
In what, like, okay, for realsies, in what capacity are you asking that question? Are you coming at it from his political stance or his lectures online that talk about sort of like stories and their metaphors and their realism?
You know, I kind of want to just your overview opinion of Jordan Peterson.
Okay, so I think in the recent years, he's done things that I definitely don't agree with, and I think especially when like attacking people quite aggressively. That's not the kind of person that I first learned about when I ever first saw one of his videos. I like listening to a lot about his psychoanalysis of when it comes to relationships and the way you kind of should operate, and his main message being that, you know what, you should never lie. You should always tell the truth, because no matter what, in some way that lie will manifest itself and come back to bite you. And he speaks about how all of his clients, because he was a clinical therapist for so many years, speaks about how he never saw a single one of them get away with a single lie. It always came back to bite them in the ass. And I think he has some very, very good messaging for people that need it. Not always, it definitely rubs some people the wrong way, but it's like, you know, something as simple for the longest time as clean your room and take some damn responsibility for yourself. A lot of lads my age kind of resonate with that, because there's a feeling of hopelessness, at least in my generation, and there was amongst my friends.
No, I totally get that,
and-
because, you know, I am I am the old Zoomer. Okay, I am you, but I have an extra 10 years. Because I was in this like Jordan, like listening to Jordan Peterson's stuff about personal responsibility and stuff like that genuinely did help me as a person, and it was kind of all coming together around, I want to say it was like 8 to 10 years ago. You know, I started going to the gym.
That's when
that was when I started my YouTube channel, and I started like building a life for myself that I wanted. But probably like you, the part where Jordan Peterson lost me is whenever he said anything even remotely political. Every time Jordan Peterson was like, have you heard about his stance on climate change lately?
I haven't. I kind of chose to stop keeping up with him.
Okay, so Jordan Peterson is a full-on climate denier. How do you feel about climate change, Jiraxu?
So I actually currently work for I just finished there now actually for a climate change tech company that negotiates deals with third world governments and tech companies in the UK and the US called Verizion. It's like an events company. So I'm obviously pro climate change, and I think something needs to be done about that.
We need to change that climate faster, partner. We need to burn that coal. Yeehaw!
Well, yeah, when I say third world, I mean like Latin American companies, South Africa, Asian Pacific. We do events all around the world.
These days is underdeveloped economies.
Oh, my apologies.
Or developing economies.
But that's kind of where we host these events, and I did lead generation for it and spoke to a lot of these tech guys. It's really impressive stuff, but now I'm sidetracked.
I know, I'm just having a lot of fun picking your brain, because every time I ask you a question, you drop some absolute banger. What do you think about women wearing makeup in the workplace?
Go for it. I think better.
What do you think about men wearing makeup in the workplace?
Go for it, I guess. I mean, it's not harming anyone.
Okay. What if the makeup has that whitening arsenic stuff in it?
And it's like poisoning everyone around them. Then
it's poisoning just them, very slowly.
I think Plug's a bit weird, but he's chill.
What is if you could ban anything, what would you ban?
Oh, if I could ban absolutely anything.
And you can't say OnlyFans. You would ban furries?
Yeah, no. Freedom of expression and all that. I don't know. I think
well, some things well, look, I'm not saying this about furries, but some things shouldn't be expressed.
I don't think there's anything inherently that I'd ban unless there was like, like for example, stop using lead in copper pipes. Like someone should have told the Romans that. But something that you might be shocked by is I'm very pro-nuclear, and I think that's how we start to fix climate change.
Do you think
that's my kind of hot take in that field?
In terms of personal responsibility, do you think that responsibility should extend to organizations? So, for example, fossil fuel companies, do you think that they should take more responsibility for the climate change catastrophe?
Absolutely. I think the idea that it's the individual that you need to take care of your carbon footprint is a massive psyop, and it was funded in the early 60s by fossil fuel companies because they make up 70% of the CO2 put out in the atmosphere. There's nothing you can do as an individual that would even mitigate that, considering that the next 20 to 30% is meat.
Well, there's nothing
actually, I got something to say about that.
Go ahead.
Last year, me and a couple of friends did some research. We did some math. One of our teachers, our biology teacher, said that if we were to plant 2 trees every month, we would help the environment a lot. So we did some research on our own. If our entire class did that for all of their lives, starting from now, in the progress we would make on the rest of our lives would be equal to around 2 hours of carbon emissions made by just BP alone. Just BP alone override everything we could do in our entire lives in just 2 hours.
And if I can add on top of that, just planting trees in itself can be, good intentions in mind. It's not, you're not recreating a forest just by planting more trees, especially if it's just one type of tree. I suppose I'm probably preaching to the choir right now, but that's. Yeah.
I don't like planting trees. I like planting seed right in your mom.
Yes.
God, I actually genuinely cannot place you. You're like pro. You're pro climate action, pro tariff, pro national. Oh my God, you're a left wing nationalist.
I don't know about that.
You're like a social nationalist.
I am.
What, like a national socialist?
No, like a social nationalist. Not quite the same thing.
I think culture is something that's pushed us to as far as where it is. I think it's important, but I think there's also responsibilities we need to take to look after each other. I like I like a healthy balance of collectivism and individualism.
Do you think that individualism is the domain of the healthy and strong, and collectivism is the domain of the weak.
No, because I think you can be weak and individualist, and I think you can be strong and collective.
Is Potato happy or broken over Trump's victory? Listen, guys, I'm going to be fine. It's everyone else that's fucked. I feel really bad for those people, man. They're going to have a really bad time. But hopefully, look, the guardrails of democracy held last time. Technically, he can only have another 4 years. He's kind of old. He could keel over with a heart attack tomorrow. And I could wake up and it'll be Carthage, and I just have to invade Rome to fix the course of history.
Okay, listen. I think next Democratic nominee is going to be Tim Walz. Because like this election,
they will lose that election.
No, because like this election has proven that that the Democrats should probably go more right leaning for the next election to appeal to the more general public, like even more than what happened than they were doing now. And in order to do that, they need just like a generic Midwestern white guy, and Tim Walz is a beloved generic Midwestern white guy.
I've got it. The 2028 winning Democratic ticket, okay? Are you guys ready? I'm about to drop the fucking fattest banger ever, okay? Tim Walz, VP Tulsi Gabbard. I'm telling you, boys, that shit's a landslide.
I can outdo you with that ticket. For next 4 years, hypothetically, economy recovers. Tariff, what he says works, right? You have JD Vance and then Tulsi Gabbard as a VP because she swaps over to a Republican.
Here's the thing: are we pretending that it's not going to be Donald Trump Jr. that's running for president in 4 years?
No, it'll definitely be JD. It'll definitely be JD. I think.
Wait, is Donald Trump Jr. actually an American citizen, or was he like born in fucking I don't know some other place? Because you have to be born in America to be the president, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Nemeth, to answer the question about Tulsi Gabbard overseas, I think she's going to make or break the next ticket that she's on. And I think she'll be the first female president ever. And that's something I've been saying for the past 4 years. And it's something I'll say for the next 8. I think she's going to be the first female president.
Okay, listen. If Trump tries to go for a third term and repeal the 22nd Amendment, we're just going to get an Obama presidency again.
Oh my God, dude. Can you imagine?
I don't think he will. I think
Jimmy Carter from the top ropes. He's like a decrepit skeleton coming back for his third fucking term. Oh,
he says, I got 1 more year in me. Meanwhile, like Bernie Sanders and AOC or someone are just like puppeting him. Like Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh my God.
I'm going to be real with you, Jiraxu. I don't think Tulsi Gabbard's getting any votes. I don't like...
Oh, I promise you. Because something I saw a lot was, I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. She's not hot enough.
Okay,
You're missing out. Think about the millions of Gooner votes that were missed in this election.
Hang on. Wait.
People voting for Trump because he's hot?
Some of them.
No, that's what I'm saying. Gooners didn't vote. They stayed inside.
Wait. Gooners never leave. All they do is sit inside pulling their little fucking cheese string. Now, question.
Yeah, they're too busy. They're too busy cranking their...
Yeah, sorry. Your question.
Tulsi... Oh, fuck, I forgot my question. It was just a meme question anyway. I need like a proper Trump Republican in here to chat to because I want to understand the Republican mindset. Is there anyone here who's happy that Trump won?
I am happy that Trump won.
Oh, Radiant. Okay, I'm sorry, Jiraxu. You've had center stage for too long. Radiant.
No worries.
Tell me about why you
will think I am fucking with you right now, but I can assure you I am not. I just want to say that first. Okay. I believe that Trump will kind of keep his words about his isolationism. And I think Trump will be, a major cause in the fall of the current Western world order, which I do not like, because...
Wait, where are you from?
I do believe that our industry should be nationalized. I am against Western investments coming to my country to dominate the local economy.
Are you from... Where are you from, Radiant?
What?
Where are you from?
I'm Turkish.
You're Turkish, got it.
I live in Turkey.
Okay, I just wanted to know vaguely, because your geopolitical opinion is going to be shaped by where you're from, right? Because if you're from Poland, you're probably going to be like, fuck yeah, we want that investment. We want people, building factories and cool shit. But if you're like, I don't know, fucking Libyan or something, you're like, get these guys out of our countries because they've been fucking with our politics for too long. Anyway, go on.
Said isolationist take. Yeah, that's true. That's pretty much it.
So you're an autarkist, right? You think a country should be able to stand on its own 2 feet and sort of provide for its citizens without leaning on outside countries for imports or exports, right? A country should be able to stand on its own.
Yeah, the way I like to word it, I can't speak. The way I like to word it is economic nationalism. Socially, I'm not very nationalistic, but economically, I do believe that nations should, probably hold on their own. Trying to live on foreign aid or investment is probably not good for the economy, because when that investment dries up, which it did, our economy was rising until problems led to the Western investment being cut off and the economy crashed.
What about a country like Ireland, right? Like, so there's only 5 million people in Ireland, okay, and we don't have like lithium or we don't have, like, let's say we don't have oil, we don't have rare earth metals. How does Ireland, like, how does this sort of political stance of economic nationalism apply to a wider world?
I mean, I can give a good example right now. Our country does not have any oil. We live in the Middle East, but we're kind of starved of oil. We get our natural resources from Qatar and Russia, natural gas. We got our oil from Azerbaijan. I think imports are rising up right now. But there you go. That's the other answer. Instead of relying on investment, you cut trade deals. You manufacture your own stuff and then you sell them. That money you gained, you buy more stuff.
But like, would you take a hit to the quality of living of the people of your country?
Absolutely. Not even a question.
How much of a hit? Like people are able to buy half as much stuff, you still think it's good to be economically independent and national?
Depends on how long this process will take. Because, for example, if you just cut all investment immediately without any warning, if you just nationalize the entire industry without saying anything, trade will suffer, quality of life will suffer, and it will take a long ass time for it to get back up. But if done gradually over time, let's say you sacrifice, I don't know, American investment, you say like, okay, we're gonna disallow Americans to invest in our country by 10% each year until it hits 0-0. And then you start spending money on your own local industry to build it up slowly each year. Just depends on how, the period goes. Because if you just do it immediately without zero warning, things are gonna go bad.
Radiant,
if
what's
you do
your
it slowly, gradually.
I agree, but like, let's say we do what you did, okay? Let's say we do the thing. We let's say we take a country like Turkey, and they invest in their national infrastructure, they invest in their national factories, and they do all that, okay? And then let's say there's a country very similar to Turkey, like let's pretend Iran, okay? The world turns, like, Turkey's like, you know what, guys, we're going to stop taking in American investment. And the world turns to Iran and they start investing in Iran. And Iran's economy starts growing way faster than Turkey's. And they have way more money. Their quality of life, they've got like 2 cars. They're fucking living it up. Meanwhile, in Turkey, sure, you're economically independent, but like you're kind of living like a 1980s lifestyle. Like you've got a car and like your phone sucks. And are you really willing to go so hard on the economic independence? What level of granularity of this economic nationalism do you look at this from? Like, what about a city? What about a town? What about the planet? Should the planet like take an economically nationalist point of view? Like, what if there was only one country that we were all a part of? You know what I mean? Like, and like this is where I struggle, because I feel like if we take this economic nationalist approach, really, in my mind, this would have to be a sort of collective world government where we're like, listen, boys, we take care of everybody in this world. We, to the best of our ability, we all pool our resources, we all work together, we're all self-sufficient. But I feel like once you start dividing up the country into these kind of cultural borders, like without trade, like if you didn't find oil, like how do you develop plastic? You know what I mean? I don't see a way that this economically nationalist, autarkist worldview can really like develop into anything other than a sort of weakening of the growth of your economy. Like I cannot see that happening in any other way.
What you said was, I haven't getting trade. That's not what I said. I said cutting down investments. I said cutting down on like monopolies and huge companies.
Okay.
Because that's how it usually goes. They, come from the outside, investors, $100 million, they buy your company. Suddenly they're the biggest company around. Suddenly you can't compete as a local industry. Why? Because somebody else from the other side of the world, he was already rich. They had the money for it. They came over here, they bought the biggest company around, and now there's no way for you to be able to compete.
Well,
local industry will hit rock bottom.
I can kind of see where you're coming from there. Like, I actually I kind of agree in this point of view, where I think it's not a terrible thing to protect local industry from international investment firms. Like, let's take agriculture, right? Let's say there's a country called Blamerica, and it makes, enough food to feed the whole world. If you just do complete free open trade with them, it will completely fuck your economy, because they produce food way cheaper than your farmers can, and now your farmers don't have jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I definitely could see the point of view that there are times where you want to limit foreign investment into your country, but I think times times where you don't want to limit foreign investment into your country if you don't have an industry. Like, let's say Turkey finds unobtainium mine, okay? But they don't have the technology or resources to actually build the unobtainium mine. And an American company comes like, hey, we've got the technology and the funding. We would like to build this unobtainium mine in your country. Like, I think that's a time when like foreign investment is actually like just massively positive, because now you are creating a whole bunch of jobs and resources and things that's going to generate revenue for your country. No?
But I pause you for 1 millisecond.
Yeah, go for it.
Right now. Because what you exactly said happened. Well, not actual investment, it happened under colonization, but if you look at New Caledonia, copper mine, if you look at Niger, their uranium mines controlled by the French, France did invest. They did create new jobs. They did start, extracting resources. But what happened to those countries? They're either a colony or a former colony, and their people are still suffering. Foreign investment did not help them, just made things worse.
Sure, I think examples of this not working well might be more an indictment in the failure of the political systems of, say, France, which I think was the one that invested mostly in Niger, to hold their own corporations to account, which ultimately falls to the French people, but also the political systems of the countries that allowed the investment to happen in the first place, where basically oligarchs and authoritarians used these lucrative sort of resource extraction deals to essentially decouple their political power from the enfranchisement of their population, right? So they don't need people to vote for them anymore because they get all the money from the uranium mine deal, so they can just pay for the army, and they don't need to win the elections. They just don't give a shit anymore because they don't need the people.
Yeah, that's what happened in Iran. Do you know why the Shahdom of Iran was so strong and why the Islamic Revolution even happened? It's because the British Petroleum Company basically took over Iran, enforced the Shah into rule, and when the people revolted, they suddenly became radical Islamists. Would you see this coming? I'm pretty sure you would if you knew the context behind that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how nobody likes it when a foreign entity interferes. Nobody likes it when they feel like their people, their country, their culture is having their strings pulled by another country. Like, I don't think anyone minds when there's influence, but nobody likes it when it feels like somebody's telling you what to do, right? I think that's the one true thing about humans, is nobody likes being told what to do. Like, if you take a country and another country goes to them, hey, what you're doing is kind of messed up, and we would like you to stop doing it, people don't take that very well. But if you go to them and you're like, hey, can we write an agreement for you to stop doing this, and maybe we'll give you something you want, I think people are more amenable to that. I definitely think there are some places in the world where colonialism still has a lot to answer for, and especially, places that are former colonies, or pretty much like all of Africa, a huge part of Asia, and a lot of South America. Yeah, I think the unequal distribution of the quality of life and political power of the world has caused a lot of fucking problems.
Basically, what I want to get is that idea of investment breeding local prosperity just doesn't usually happen. It usually goes to a select company, a select group of people, which then become new elites propped up by outside forces. It happens everywhere. It has happened throughout history.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting point, and I don't really know enough about it to refute it. What about two countries that are roughly the same power level? Let's say we have Ireland has 5 million population, and I don't know how many Portugal has, but let's say Portugal has 5 million, okay? Can they invest in each other and it's chill? Because neither one is much stronger than the other. So they can form a team.
As I said, it depends on how the investment is going. If it's a trade, for example, you say, I will invest in your country, I have a technology for it, I will build a new port in your country that you can use for your future endeavors, but I will get a 10% cut. And in return, you will give me your potato seeds that have better potato harvests. So I won't, die from a second potato famine.
Damn, dude, you fucking went straight to the potatoes.
Personal.
My bad.
You want me to start bringing up some of your Turkish shit? Okay, you be careful.
No, I'm
okay?
good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
I guess if you can I
yeah, jump in.
I get an example of a cooperation between two countries, at least in my opinion, working out well for the lesser country, smaller country. South Korea has had a shaky, if beneficial, relationship with the US. The development of South Korea, beginning as a US-backed dictatorship, is a mark against their trust, shall we say? But it's sort of looking towards the present. The South Korea is benefits greatly from the US, and I think that's it's an example of a good relationship. I think that South Korea wouldn't be in this place that it is right now with the miracle on the Han River without the US's involvement.
Yeah, but I also think South Korea. Are you saying this is like a positive case for investment?
Yeah, because actually I could even refute that, because if you said the current South Korea is good, you know that like Samsung controls most of everything going on in the Korean social life.
Well, that's
companies
right.
dominate the social life.
We
Right.
do need
Of
to
course.
we would need to do a lot more research on that to establish these things. But I think a really good example, like an actually really really powerful example that kind of sidesteps all the side issues of having to do a bunch of research on South Korea, is like the investment in Germany in post-war Europe, right? And the investment in rebuilding Europe. Like this is an area of time and space and stuff like that where U.S. investment in these European countries led to an incredible, I don't know, resurgence economically. Like Europeans live lives that are roughly equivalent to their US counterparts, right? Like, sure, America has a slightly faster growing economy, and depending on how you measure things, but adjusted for purchasing power and GDP per capita and all that stuff, like the US investments in Europe have, I don't know, made Europeans' lives way better.
That's a select case. That's like one in a million.
But shouldn't
It's
sure
still
okay
happening.
maybe it's 1 in a million, sure, but shouldn't we try to make that happen more? Wouldn't it be really cool?
But that doesn't usually fit your country's national interests. Why did America do that? Why did America rebuild Europe? They needed a bulwark against communism to not let them take over the rest of Europe, because why then they would lose power over the rest of the world.
Sure. All right, but let's say it was in our national interest to invest in Turkey, right? And we're going to build Turkey up. Like, I don't know what Turkey's GDP per capita. It's probably growing really fast and all that stuff. But let's say Europe is like, yo, Turkey, what's up?
It's totally crashed. The economy is going to shit.
Oh, well, fuck, ripperino. But let's say Europe is like, yo, Turkey, what's up? We got all this money. Let's build you some fucking infrastructure. Let's go. And then like 20 years from now, Turkey's like a fucking souped up gigachat economy making, crazy money. Everybody's got cars. Everybody's living their best lives. Like, I feel like I would prefer to live in that world. Like, that's the world I want to live in. And then the Turkish people are like, you know what? These Europeans, they're pretty fucking cool. They're like awesome people. They helped us, they invested in our economy. And now we're like allies. We're friends. We're together. We're not like constantly at each other's throats and shit. I mean, I know that hasn't been going on for hundreds of years, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I want to live in that world where we make the world a better place, rather than the world where we're all trying to stand like alone and against each other.
And I guess that's just a difference of viewpoints, because I do believe that one of the most important aspects of being human is in fact being selfish.
Oh shit.
So,
have you read Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged?
I do know I don't know Ayn Rand's, but I had a wacky idea when I was 13, so I haven't read any political theory at all.
Okay, fair.
The wacky idea went, I want to form. The other guy said he has his own manifesto. I want to write my own manifesto. And I was like, if I don't read any political theory on purpose, what will be my political manifesto if I ever write it? I made a decision at 13, and I'm still going through with it.
Holy shit.
Once I finish university, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write an actual manifesto.
I like the sound of this guy.
Dude, Jiraxu and Radiant Rot, you guys need to form a fucking political party.
Hell yeah.
Radiant, would you agree with the statement, communist at home, capitalist externally?
That just sounds like imperialism. Welcome aboard.
Oh my god, dude.
I'm for that.
I can't, like, I'm sorry, I'm going to misrepresent what you said, like, but you were like, you know what, I'm going to read absolutely nothing about the climate, I'm going to read absolutely zero geological science, and I'm going to write my manifesto on climate change when I turn 18.
No, but the difference is that I can still debate politics without reading them. I can still see how politics affects, I can see how the economy changes based on the decisions being taken right now. I don't need a PhD in climate to know that climate change is real. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, for sure. But I was just making the analogy of, like, wouldn't you want to read as much political theory as possible so that you could basically, like, in your own head, make the political theories, like, do the Hunger Games in your mind?
Okay, that's what I do, but just discussing them instead. I have been going around a bunch of different servers just discussing politics. That's why I'm currently here, by the way, if you would believe it.
Oh, fair. No, let's talk. Oh, are you a Dylan Burns watcher?
No, I'm here because a friend invited me to the server when he said that there was a political debate stream going on.
Oh my god, who invited you?
I'm not an anarch.
DM me.
I'm not telling
Give
you.
me the receipts. DM me the inviter, okay?
I will die on the sill. I'm not telling anything.
You please the first.
Oh, you're not even... Radiant Rot, what's your favorite video game?
What's my favorite video game? Good question. I do like Black Ops The Line. I also like Darkest Dungeon.
How do you feel about Hearts of Iron 4, Victoria 3, Victoria 2.
I do play map games, but they're not my favorite games.
I can't believe my fucking political discussion is getting astroturfed by political people. How do you feel about Putin, Radiant Bot?
How do I feel about Putin? I think he's a little crazy. That's what I feel.
Anything else?
Anything else? Like, what do you mean? About what?
What do you think? You think
What
he's a cool
Putin's-
guy?
I think he's a cool guy. Definitely not. I don't think his vision of Russia is not what the Russian people need. So I don't think he's a pretty cool guy.
What do you think the Russian people need?
I think the Russian people need a stable century so that they can rebuild after the collapse of their empire.
They need a
I think that's the
stable
best for them.
centrist?
My stable centers? Definitely not. Depends on the context. For my own nation, yes. For America, I'm an exceptionalist. I hope Trump's election causes the Kaiserreich-style world war. Not world war, civil war. My bad.
Holy shit. Wait, did you say
fuck?
Kaiser? Did you say Kaiser-Reich
What the
style civil
fuck?
war?
Yeah, like a 5A civil war in
Oh
America.
my
I think
god,
it'd
we
be
found a
fun.
Hearts of Iron 4 player! This is a Hearts of Iron
Why
4
would we
player
start
right
off
here!
with
Oh my
this?
fucking god, he's a Hearts of Iron 4 player!
I don't have a better analogy, okay?
I'm ejecting
I
from
don't
the
have a better
chat.
analogy.
I'm ejecting. I'm done. Fucking Hoi 4 player. I knew it!
What?
You know, I've been playing Fortnite this
Like,
whole time.
there's like a fucking... If you did like... I don't know what the Venn diagram
Would
is.
you like to
but
hear
a
how many hours I have on Hoi 4?
No. The Venn diagram of Hearts of Iron 4 players and fucking weird political ideologies is a fucking circle, dude.
No, I'm just gonna ask. Do you want to know how many hours I have on the game called Hearts of Iron 4?
I would say like 20 hours.
Around 100, but that's because I play multiplayer.
Oh, fair.
I
No,
haven't played a single player game ever in my life.
I'm gonna be real with you. You playing multiplayer just makes that like multiplies those 100 hours by like 1,000 because I know you're watching those videos. I know you're talking to other people about the game.
So-
It's ogre for you, brother. How often do you play Turkey when you play Hearts of Iron?
I don't know. I think the last. Okay, so let me count the games I played. I played Spain, I played Germany, and I played Mongolia in our multiplayer games that I played.
Amazing.
As
who,
I
who
said,
invited
I'm not
you?
an actual nationalist.
Who
I'm
invited
an
you to-
economic nationalist.
Who invited you to this channel? Give me the
I'm not
name.
telling you.
No, I'm just curious. There's nothing bad is going to happen to them.
I'm not gonna narc a brother out.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure, nothing
Who
bad
wants
will
to
happen.
who wants to admit it? Okay, there's no trouble. I'm just curious about like which Discord you guys were in and what you guys do in your free time and like how did you get to here? You know, I'm just curious about the chain of events. Nothing bad will happen. I promise you.
If you want to hear the chain of events, I can tell you a long story. Okay, so it first starts with a political debate server. I
Okay.
get invited into an Hearts of Iron 4 server. I get invited into another Hearts of Iron 4 server. I get invited to another Hearts of Iron 4 server, and then I get invited here.
Interesting. Jiraxu, do you play Hearts of Iron 4?
I tried it, but I'm really not a fan.
Okay. Just gonna go down the
Yeah.
down the channel here. Floor.
I prefer Crusader Kings.
Floor, do you play Hearts of Iron 4?
Hey, wait.
Not anymore, no.
Floor, are you a
I'm
member
gonna-
of political chats with a man called Radiant Rot?
Definitely not, no.
Okay. I'll find him. I'll
I-
find the narc.
You will not
can-
figure anything
You can
out. my
check
brother.
you can check the Discord, and then you'll see mutual servers with Radiant Rod.
No, I have to be in those servers. Oh, that's interesting, Jiraxu. That you would say that.
Wait, are we in a server? Let me check. Hold on.
We're not, but that's so funny now.
We are both in the Foxhole game server, which is a fucking great
I play a
game.
little bit of Foxhole, not too much. I don't have the time for it.
Let me see. Who brought anyone else got a political who wants to drop a hot political take here? Not Jiraxu or Radiant Rot. You guys have talked long enough. Give me a hot 1-on-1 dominions. Dominations.
I think we should actually. I do not think that we should decrease U.S. military spending in any way.
Based. Protect the
Agreed.
world trade.
Okay,
That's not even a hot take in this
I-
Discord.
my opinion on this is mostly uneducated. I need to look into what we are actually researching, but I think combined with keeping our military spending as it is now, we should also increase the amount of foreign intervention. I don't even think that we need to send more stuff to Ukraine. I think we just need to lift the restrictions on the stuff we already have sent there. Because right now there's Ukraine cannot use American weapons to attack Russian soil, which makes it way harder for them to attack Russian artillery on Russian soil, striking Ukrainian positions. So I think we should lift that. Also, I think it's not really a hot take, but I feel like we shouldn't cut all arms spending to Israel, but we should cut everything that is not involved in the Iron Dome thing.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't done enough research on the Israeli stuff to actually have a well-formed, strong opinion on it. I'm a little bit better informed on the Ukraine stuff. I think I understand the West and America and mainly NATO are trying to do a very, very careful dance where they protect Ukraine from being completely annexed, but also bleed Russia dry of resources. It's super fucked up. I don't know. It's all, that's the sort of shit where I have to sit down and do a lot of really deep research. I think generally speaking, I'm against the killing of innocent civilians. And so that sort of thing will inform my worldview pretty heavily. So I think it's really bad that Russia is rocketing fucking shopping malls and stuff like that. I think it's super bad that Israel is bombing apartment complexes or refugee camps and all that sort of shit. But also at the same time, I also think it's pretty bad that the fucking Hamas attacking civilians is not good. We need to stop attacking civilians and we need to get to the fucking negotiation table and just talk about these things and come to actual agreements and settlements. And I think it's I was reading a news article, I don't know if it's actually true or whatever, but that Netanyahu, he fired one of his cabinet ministers, and the cabinet minister was Netanyahu was blocking peace talks with the Gaza Strip. And it's all and I need to do so much more research before I can give you a really informed opinion.
I think one of the big reasons he did fire his defense minister was because the defense minister, basically, Netanyahu wanted to introduce a bill that would make extreme Orthodox Jews not have to serve in the military. The military minister just blocked that, saying no, and then he fired the guy. It's just political reasons.
Yeah,
plus they disagreed before and stuff.
I mean, I'm a leftist Jew that's pretty anti-Zionist that can speak on the issue.
All right, jump in. Give us your hot take. I've got about 15 minutes before my Civ 5 game starts up.
All right, beautiful. I mean, just the entire Israeli project, I think, the Zionist project is one that's built on ethno-nationalism, specifically white ethno-nationalism. There's a whole issue with Ethiopian Jews that were trying to be led into Israel, and just what's going on in Gaza has been declared illegal by the UN and by the ICC. It's been declared a genocide. Arrest warrants have been sought in this case. Yeah.
Why do you say it's been declared a genocide?
The ICC is seeking arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and I believe his military minister for the cause of genocide.
Does that mean that the ICC thinks that has declared that a genocide is happening?
Yes, they have.
Yes.
Because I was under the impression that they have declared that Palestinians have the right to be protected from genocide, and that it is possible that Netanyahu and his ministers have engaged in crimes against humanity, but they have not yet risen to the confidence level to call it legally on an international level genocide. I could be wrong.
Actually, I think that's true, but there's a case for making it be called genocide, in the actual court.
Right. So I would charge that what's the point in calling it a genocide after the fact if there are already crimes against humanity being committed? Even the U.S. has started to condition aid to Israel. It's finally they did something to say we're not going to continuously arm you and drop bombs on hospitals, which Israel is now expanding its war of just crusade to Lebanon to bomb the Al-Aqsa hospital, claiming that they make all these claims that there's caches of gold underneath Lebanese hospitals. They claim there was a Hamas terror facility underneath the Al-Aqsa hospital, I believe, in Gaza. The West Bank settlements as well have been declared illegal. And so all of this is happening.
Pause.
I believe, and I would just finally make one more point, that I think that Israel actually contributes to anti-Semitism worldwide, because by bombing people underneath the flag of the Star of David only gives people incentive to hate that flag. I feel less safe as a Jew knowing that there are bombs being dropped on people under the name of Judaism. That just doesn't sit with me.
I can kind of agree and understand some of those perspectives. One thing that I wanted to pause and say, the most important thing that needs to if any peace is ever going to come, is every single settlement in the West Bank needs to be fucking destroyed, removed, knocked down, bulldozed, appropriated, and given back to the Palestinian people, because it is wild that there are dudes who just pack up a van full of construction materials and then just build a city in the middle of someone else's land. That is just unacceptable. That's what I was going to say there. That is just can you imagine?
Totally agreed.
Can you imagine? And fuck, can you imagine like the border with Mexico, okay? And then like Texans, no, like even in between individual states in America, like Texans just started building towns on the fucking borderline with, I don't know, Carolina, or Louisiana, I don't know which one they're attached to, right? And then like 10 years later, like, oh, we're part of Texas now. And then Louisiana's like, no, the map line is here. You guys are on this country. And they're like, nope, we're Texans. Like, that is just fucking insane. That you think that like the settlements, I think, are the most insane part of the West Bank situation, as far as I'm concerned. But I kind of can, in some ways, I kind of agree that Israel is contributing to anti-Semitism around the world. But in the other ways, it's like, fuck, man, everyone is watching every single move they do. And it's like, if you're 100% scrutinized every second of every day, you're going to find things wrong with them. Now, that's not to say the shit that they're doing right now isn't extremely wrong. But yeah, I don't know. And I think I've seen some, see, here's the thing is, we live in a world of like half information or disinformation or bad information. So I don't even want to say anything really confidently on the Israel-Palestine issue unless I make like a lot of research. There are certain things that I will make a confident stance on, like the fucking West Bank settlements, which I think absolutely need to be just appropriated and given back to Palestinians. But yeah, I don't know. I can kind of see your perspective. What is your hopeful perspective here?
Hopeful perspective. I mean, it's a tough one, but I think the Democratic Party really has to look itself in the mirror. I think this election showed that trying to tack to the right, like putting up Liz Cheney, and trying to adopt what?
Hold on. Repeat like the first bit of that again.
I mean, it's tough to be hopeful, but I think the Democratic Party really has to look itself in the mirror after this one, because they tried to run the same campaign as 2016. Like this centrist, like the mythical moderate voter that doesn't exist. I mean, Republicans vote for Republicans and then trying to adopt Republican policies. I mean, Kamala ran on Trump's 2020 like border wall. Like this tack to the right just hasn't worked. Putting up Liz Cheney didn't, and saying like, look, even the Cheneys wanted to vote for us, didn't work. So I think my hope comes from the fact that there will be like real change within the Democratic Party, that like we'll see I loved the Tim Walz appointment. Like he campaigned upon things and delivered upon things like that had strong moral foundation, like giving kids school lunches, like that. He had a vision and he campaigned on it and he won and he was popular for that. I have hope for like governors like Andy Beshear in Texas, who is like a strong pro-union, pro-trans candidate who's Catholic, who won in Kentucky for Kentucky Democratic governor, like 2 times in a row, running on a pro-trans, pro-union platform that like protects people based upon his Catholic values of caring for people. So I have hope that the people in this country really care about each other, and will come together, and we just need like a strong vision and hope for America. And I believe that lies in more leftist policies. Surprise, I'm a leftist. But I believe that comes from union membership. And I believe that comes from caring about each other and not leaning into divisive rhetoric about immigrants.
If I could just hop in there with the Dick Cheney thing, I think the reality is when Kamala Harris running on Trump's border wall, she's been the border czar for the past 3-4 years. It didn't matter what she said. There was no matter who they put with her, no Republican was ever going to vote for Kamala Harris. And then obviously there's probably racial undertones, let's be honest, right? So unfortunately, it wasn't her policies, it's her lack of action over the past 4 years. And then the only way you would have got the Republican vote is if you had the endorsement from someone like Tulsi, which she lost. But the Republicans were never going to vote for someone like Kamala Harris.
So I'm going to wrap this up with my super nuclear take, is that I have 2 really, really nuclear takes here. And it's probably going to be... history will show me to be wrong, probably. If the Republican Party tones down their racism a little bit, they'll never lose another election in America. The second hot take I have is, if the Democrats move further right to be more like Republicans, I think it actually makes it better for them.
Yeah,
I do agree with you on that second one.
Anyway,
that's kind of just like...
those are the final comments. I love you guys. I'm gonna go play Civ. Thank you guys.
All right, have fun.
You will never figure out.
One last thing I want to say is that everything in Palestine really had very little effect on the U.S. election. First, the median voter in America does not care about Palestine. If anything, they care more about Israel, because we're taught in school that, like, oh yeah, Israel, they were so oppressed with the Holocaust, but then they got their own state, and then like every other country tried invading them, but they bravely fought it off. Like, that is what we are taught in school That's how we were taught Israel in school.
All right, you got the last word. Toodles. I still can't get over the fucking RFK supporting Trump voter or Trump supporter, the not liking Donald Trump until he got endorsed by RFK. That is some meme shit right there.